G'day and welcome to On The Esky, an Aussie sports podcast where we like to have a few Mark Stubby Taylors wrap up the week that was in sport and dribble some absolute nonsense. Today's show we have cricket, the Big Bash Draft, the first ever. Was it a success? Maybe not. Asian Cup is underway and Zimbabwe beat Australia in Australia. Ooh, we won the series, but footy finals are well underway in the AFL. A great first week of the AFL Finals, and we have the top 8 set. We have the finals matchups for the Rugby League. Soccer's underway, double week in the EPL. Few big NBA trades. The NFL is so close. So close. A lot of fantasy football drafts would have happened over the weekend, I imagine, plus a final round featuring a unfortunate result for fans of Tai Tuivasa, but Bobby Knuckles getting the job done there in Paris, and a look at the F1 over there in, where are they this weekend? Netherlands, yes. Netherlands. Yes. Please remember, we have timestamps. You can skip to the sports that you enjoy on the YouTubes, or if you're a moron like us and like subjecting yourself to 3 hours of dribble, listen to the whole damn thing. Please subscribe if you can, and chuck us a follow on the socials. We'd like to kick off this show by shouting a beer. The man on my left will kick us off. We're talking tennis. Who are you shouting a beer this week, Shauno?
US Open for me, and going with Serena Williams back-to-back. Of course, leading into the US Open, I go Shadow Beer as her last one, and unfortunately she has finally lost to an Australian.
Not unfortunate. I'll definitely go for Tomjanovic in that one. But good game. Went to 3 sets.
Yes, definitely was a good game. Came back here to win that, the Australian. Well, that ends Serena Williams' career. So, you know, a legend. Couldn't catch Margaret Court by 1. Or did she equal?
I think one short.
Yeah. But overall, a stellar career for the last 2 decades. 17 years, I think, in total. So
unreal.
Yeah, an unreal career. Had a huge following, and a lot of the celebs showed up for her final matches.
Who was there? Tiger Woods, few actors.
Plenty of NFL players as well, especially.
Yeah, I think I saw Saquon
was getting involved. Yes. So, yeah, it was a lot there to celebrate the end of a great career. For Serena Williams. And to tack onto that, I just want to throw Nick Kyrgios there. He's moved into the 4th round, and I think him and the double Ks have also moved deep into 3rd round, I believe, for the doubles.
So interesting they had to play each other earlier in the week.
So obviously no hard feelings. They must have had
absolutely not. No,
match,
I think Nick said in the post-match presser, we'd never want to play against each other. It was just... You know, luck of the draw, bad luck of the draw, if you will. But who knows? Rigged, maybe. Maybe that's what the people wanted to see. But NK still going over there in the US Open. Obviously, no Novak Djokovic. Not allowed to play because of vaccination status. We're not going down that road, that's for sure, in 2022.
So I think he's talked about that a bit too much.
Yeah, he's got Medvedev rematch for him. So I think he played him... What tournament was that? Wasn't that long ago. Here? Did he play here? No, that would have been
Djokovic. No, not here.
No, Kyrgios.
Oh, Kyrgios?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was that was Wimbledon, was it? No, that wasn't Wimbledon. Australian Open, perhaps.
Maybe, yeah. Anyway, a bit of a rivalry there as well, so we'll have to see how he goes. I think he's on the losing end in both their previous matches.
See how he goes. Definitely divides, does young Nick Kyrgios. Some people love, some people hate. See how he goes. I will be shouting a beer this week to kind of the Zimbabwean cricket team for getting their first ever win on Australian soil, but in particular, right arm leggy Ryan Burl. 5 for 10, pretty handy stat line there. Yeah, little Michelle Pfeiffer. And the statement "shit gets wickets" has never been more true than this one. When he was tossing up just about waist high fullies to Ashton Agar, and he's picking out mid wicket. I was actually watching, thinking, I think I could score a run against this guy. I was actually thinking that. Turns out I probably couldn't, because he cleaned up 5 Australians for 10 runs. Absolute capitulation from the Aussies against Zimbabwe. We'll get stuck into that in just a second in our cricket chat. But 5 for 10, pretty handy figures there for anyone, let alone if you're a Zimbabwean leg spinner on Australian soil against the Aussies. So enjoy your beer. I'm sure they did get stuck in Townsville on a Saturday night. Ryan
Too much
Burl.
else to do.
Nah. Down the mad cow. Down the mad cow, indeed. Marks, who are you shouting a beer? This is going to be an expensive one. I hope you brought your wallet.
Very expensive. You alluded to it a little bit earlier on at the top of the pod in your introduction, but I'm going to shout a beer to all the fantasy football owners out there. As you mentioned, big weekend as we come into round one of the NFL, so everyone was obviously going through their drafts. We had ours on the weekend. I thought I drafted a pretty good team until NFL.com gave me their synopsis.
What was the wins prediction for your team?
Well, my projected record for the season is 0-15.
Big fat donut.
Big fat donut. Probably.
I like how they give you a C for that. Like a C. So what the fuck's an F? Like how do you get an F?
Well, apparently I might have potential. They did
potential to win 0 games.
Yeah, exactly. It's I've only got upsides. Like I can't go any worse than projected.
I like it. Low expectations, no disappointments.
But I also like how they also made a comment that my steal of the draft was in the final round. I picked the Tampa Bay kicker.
Well, I guess that's what you get when a robot sends you an email and has a look at your fantasy team. But very exciting for anyone that does play NFL fantasy. Obviously, this season kicks off on Thursday night over there in the States. That'll be Friday morning, our time down under. Obviously, big fans of the NFL, us boys here on the potty, so can't wait for that to kick off. Let us know if you got an email suggesting that your fantasy team might win 0 games this season. You can't take it to heart. You cannot take it to heart. We've had guys that have done garbage and the projector says they're going to go well and vice versa. So, maybe that's just a sigh of relief to all of those that thinking that, maybe AI, it's a bit scary. Is it going to take over the world? No time soon, I don't think, given that email.
If it has to play fantasy football,
we'll fuck them up. We'll fuck them up.
I think I won the league that year. I won off like a really bad grade as well. So, grain of salt, definitely.
Salts and grains and salts. Mop of the week. I'll take this one, boys. EPL, we will talk about it in a second. We got treated to 2 games this week. Condensed schedule, World Cup in Qatar. No corruption or anything. Sorry, just thinking to myself.
Not bitter at all.
No, could have been down under.
Yes.
I will be highlighting Richarlison's efforts this week, last night for Tottenham. He thought he had the tap-in equaliser, ripped his shirt off to unveil a horrible singlet tan. Must I say that the arms are looking nice and bronze, the body less so. Celebrates with the shirt off, goes to VAR, offside, mate. So here's a yellow card for your troubles and fuck off. So
that's too funny.
Took the shirt off, gets a yellow card, gets the goal, disallowed. Spurs did go on to win that game 2-1 against Fulham. It's interesting, the old rip your shirt off and cop a card, isn't it?
Yeah.
No fun allowed in sports these days.
No.
Some bloke at the start, we have to chase this one up. We might not do it live, but someone took off their shorts after kicking a goal in the first round over there because you obviously get a yellow card if you take your shirt off. So he took his shorts off.
That's just like Derek Lewis taking his shorts off, but his balls were hot. So
yeah, big time. Yeah, hot balls. Balls are hot. Let's go. Monkey's chasing it up live.
I'll have it ready for the EPL section.
Seems good. Let's talk cricket. Huzzah!
Yeah,
that's I've got a new sound effect.
Nice.
Very good.
Yeah, thank you.
Nice. And potentially the first subject could have even been our mop this week. Let's talk BBL Draft.
Yeah.
I was thinking of doing it as a mop, but
we've got a big section.
Yeah, it's a bit too much to chat about, a bit too much to break down, but it was labelled a disaster.
As a TV event, it was hard. It was tough.
Ordinary viewing, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Isn't it? We'd spoken about it last week.
It's like they've watched all the other sports do drafts and then forgotten about all of it. And then it's like, how do we do this? I don't know. Let's make it up.
And they've fed everyone a hash brownie on the way in, and everyone has been so slow motion and disinterested.
What I don't get is they had each team had 6 or 8 people, but they only had a desk good enough for 3 of them. So everyone was sitting in the background.
Budget cuts.
Budget cuts.
But they all had them in a small little studio as well and packed them in, and then
it wasn't good.
Yeah, the commentator had to run back and forth between the desks to who's doing what. It was a shit show.
Love Mark Howard. Love his work. Great podcast. Howie Games. Check it out.
It wasn't his fault. They was set up to fail.
No, but he got fed to the wolves, I think, in this event.
It was just dry TV for something that they needed to probably kick it up a notch.
And no one really just seemed that interested to have a chat either when Howie went across and wanted to interview and the rest of it. And the whole premise was, we've got these big name people coming down to play down under and reignite the big bash, and turns out half of them aren't going to be available for finals and got passed over.
That's why they didn't get selected.
Talking about Faf du Plessis, I'm talking about the West Indians in Andre Russell and Dwayne Bravo, talking about Jason Roy. These are some big names in T20 cricket, and they got skipped over because they're not going to be here for the finals anyway.
Can they potentially get signed outside of this just to play those early parts of the tournament?
I'm not sure if that, because they've nominated themselves as being platinum, that means, they have to pay $375,000 or whatever it was for them. Can they come down and play the start? I imagine that is probably a possibility.
Do you think you'd want, if you're Cricket Australia, you'd want all 4 of those guys there?
Fucking
if you want to market the sport.
and the others that got passed over. The other thing, and Sean, you kind of highlighted it, was teams passing on picks. 8 out of the 32 picks were passes, including a first rounder from the Scorchers. That means 1 in 4 picks in this draft was a pass.
Yeah, it wasn't say the dire straits that I thought it would be, where we would have passes galore, but still it was a decent number. And to even get 1 in the first round, I think, again, kind of killed off the hype, especially a team like the Scorchers, who have won a lot, just to go, yeah, we're right, we don't need any of these blokes. You're just like, then what's the point? Yeah. Why are we doing this?
That's right. Faf du Plessis out on the board. Let it go through to the keeper. It was hard viewing. And I'd said last week, I'm excited. I'm a cricket nerd. I will literally go home and watch this. And I was getting through it, just going, oh God, this is tough to watch.
Yeah. And I think that the Rashad Khan thing as well is, I think they should have probably done it more like an actual keeper thing where you've kept a dude, so you don't have to go through this whole retention thing. Because if they could potentially poach someone, you get better storylines. Like that's better viewing of the TV. But I think it was one of the Melbourne squads was like, we'll pick him, which then of course forced Adelaide to then retain him if they were going to retain him anyway. But it kind of just killed the whole momentum because that was the second pick. They're just like, this rule kind of makes no real sense because you then force them to make the pick. They've made their pick essentially for the second, and now you have to make a different pick.
Yeah.
So I was just like, they should have just known, we're keeping Khan. Okay, he's off the board. Yeah. And we're not picking the first round. Done. So then they go into it going, hey, we're going to, this is what we are going to do. And I think they probably, I know none of these guys are in Australia, and they had them on the Zoom call. But they had, they pop up for 10 seconds and show them smiling, and that was it. Maybe some more interaction with the players and some I'm so excited to
to me that felt like very recorded reaction.
We
want
to
just post it up there for the team that gets them. It's not like like you said, there was no interaction, there was no like.
I think that we're probably spoiled because I was half expecting them to come across and give big hugs to Howie, like big old, NFL style Roger Goodell. So
put the cap on.
It's like I'm happy to be going. But it's just like
scan across to their crying mother. They've just bought a house. I love you, mum. Big fucking diamond chains hanging off their neck and shit.
Yeah, but essentially it just ended up being a former Australian cricketer going, hey, as a coach, like we've picked this bloke. He's going to be really solid to our strategy, and then run to the next pick, and you're just like, oh well, that was fucking boring.
It was boring. I think that's a fair assessment. So,
a lot of lessons to learn, hopefully.
Well, I suppose that's the question. Like, you look at the IPL auction. Yeah, what's the difference between? Well, I suppose it's more of an auction than anything else. But what's the difference between the Big Bash draft and like an IPL auction, like
billions of dollars.
Not billions, not billions. I would have said millions. I would have said millions. And obviously, Rajasthan Royals, an eccentric auctioneer, which, you know, maybe you needed a little bit of that. Something to pick up the mood, man. It's not a fucking funeral out there. It's not a funeral. Seriously, open casket. Jesus Christ. It was hard to watch. It was hard to watch. But, look, the IPL auction isn't, it's not ecstatic viewing, but... Yeah. There's more involved. There's bigger name players. There's more rounds. There's more money being thrown. It just seemed like, I don't know. It just seemed like half the people didn't want to be there. Yeah, that's how it seemed to me.
Yeah,
well, when half of them aren't sitting behind a table or just sit in the background,
not enough fucking seats.
Yeah, they were just the smile and wave people you get at the back of politician bloody press conferences. That's what it felt like. So
I wouldn't go that far.
Well, they're the nodders. That's essentially what they're there. They're just in the back end to nod and agree with whatever the dude in the front saying. So I'm just disappointed. But maybe we were expecting too much of them for their first draft.
Possibly, possibly.
With the crossover from all the other sports that we watch that do drafts as well.
As Monkey said, no expectations, no disappointment.
True.
That's a motto to live your life by.
Get
that tattooed on your neck. All right, let's talk about the bright things that came out of the draft. We do have some big names coming down under this summer. Liam Livingstone goes to the Renegades with the first pick. We kind of picked that. Probably the in-form player out of this bunch. An unbelievable IPL, maybe the cleanest hitter of a white ball at the moment getting around. So that'll be nice to see him. Ply his craft this summertime. Trent Bolt, a big name, quick, a New Zealander. We haven't seen him in the Big Bash yet. He goes to the Stars. Sam Billings, he's very talented. He goes to the Heat. Chris Jordan, a quick English quick, goes to the Sixers. The pass that we spoke about from the Scorchers. David Willey, I thought he might have gone to the Scorchers. Interesting that the Scorchers passed and didn't want to throw some money at someone who's been very good for them in the past. And Shabad Khan, I think the Hurricanes will get familiar this year with a few of their Pakistani imports that they actually picked only Pakistani players. I like the play there from the Hurricanes. They're thinking, what's a way to maybe jump into a little market? Why don't we pick 3 players from the same country, population 200 plus million, when there's half a million people that live down in Pakistan? There might be purple Hobart Hurricane flags, cruising down the streets of Karachi going, we love Hobart, go Hobart. I actually think that might be the smartest play out of this draft, just drafting exclusively Pakistani players there. We won't go through the others, I don't think. Some bigger names that will be coming back down under. Colin Munro, James Vince, Colin de Granholm, he just retired from international cricket. Phil Salt, Riley Rosso, Alex Hales. There's some pretty decent players that got drafted here, but
heavy Pommy contingent.
A lot of English, a few Pakistanis, a few Afghans. As Rashid Khan gets retained, the likes of Mujib Rahman comes down. Izal Haq Naveed, doing my best there, and then mostly English people. Makes sense. It's winter time over there. Mm-hmm. If they're going to play in any other series, it might be this UAE series, but obviously no domestic cricket to compete with, as the New Zealand and South African contingents will have to compete with. Very few West Indians. We spoke about Bravo and Dre Russ and Corin Pollard and that not going. That they're probably going to go and play in the UAE league. It would have been nice to see them. They always bring a bit of flair and a bit of excitement and some big hitting.
But they're chasing coin. Nothing wrong with that, but we know, of course not. We know what they're after.
Indeed. Yeah, I think we've hit. I think we've brought up the main points here, boys. It was a good idea. The execution may be slightly lackluster. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's a learning curve, to go next year and go, well, if we know these guys aren't going to get picked, the Faf du Plessis and the like, let's not advertise that they're on the board, because it just kind of seems a little bit shallow and misprepared, I suppose. Mm-hmm.
So when does that tournament actually start? That's not till...
We got months. It'll be start of December, I think. Yeah, we've got some time. The Aussies, that are fighting for positions in their respective teams, all of that will come to fruition in the next few months, but quite some time, I think, until that big bash officially kicks off. Monks, what do you got there? Some UAE? Yeah, so we've got a lot of the West Indians over there already. So the likes of Sunil Nareen, Trey Russ.
Trent Bolt's on that list.
Trent Bolt is on that list. Kyron Pollard, Dwayne Bravo, Puran, Andre Fletcher, some pretty big names. Johnny Bairstow over there. It's going to be direct competition, I suppose, now with the big bash moving forward. It's just two teams that have posted.
So it's just a quick search. So there's only two teams.
Abu Dhabi Knight Riders. That's weird that they can. I wonder if they're affiliated actually with Kolkata.
Well,
I believe they might be. I think a lot of the owner groups.
I'm glad that you brought that up, because looking across, they are direct affiliates. So there's the Mumbai Indian Emirates, the Gulf Giants, Dubai Capitals. I suppose we by default go for Dubai.
Yep, I
suppose.
Well, ever since I was a little boy, I just really bled Dubai. Big fat airport, fucking nice cars cruising around.
Yeah.
So they got two other owner groups there.
Yeah. So there's only four teams announced, and there'll be a total of 6. It looks like here for the inaugural UAE T20 League.
So good old Wikipedia has got the other two teams as Sharjah Warriors and the Desert Vipers.
So maybe
are they affiliated with IPL teams?
Doesn't look like it.
Yeah, so some affiliated, some not.
Yeah,
which is probably why these ones have been
already announced. Yeah, interesting.
So you got the 6 and 2 independents.
Yeah, well. Go Caps, Dubai Caps. Let's go. All right, boys. Australia win this series against Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe are going to go home with their heads held high, because they've done something they've never done before, in that they've won an ODI on Australian soil. They did that yesterday. As I spoke about at the top of the show, Ryan Bell, shit gets wickets, 5 for 10. Thanks for coming. Davey Warner scored well over half of our runs.
More like 80, 90%.
Yeah, back sore, carrying the team, etc., etc. I've got two kind of routes of thinking here. One kind of thinks, good on you, Zimbabwe. You got to win, on foreign soil. Good for your team morale. Good for the people of Zimbabwe, et cetera, et cetera. My second line of thought is, why the fuck does Australia do this? We've just done it in Sri Lanka. We've done it in Pakistan, where it's like these, one-off, two-way ODI series. It's kind of like they don't give a fuck sometimes.
Well, it seemed that way. They were kind of throwing the wickets away.
Yeah, 100%, man.
I think probably after the early games, they were like, it didn't really matter what they did. We were going to win anyway.
Get to the pub early.
Well, exactly. Maybe too much pub.
Yeah.
Come game 3, they're on a weak bender by that point.
Up in Townsville. Thanks. So Monks does have the scorecard up there. Davey Warner, 94, total 141. Quick mass, it's like 2/3 of the runs. Glenn Maxwell, the only other bloke there in double digits, and then the rest is pretty sorry reading, really, isn't it? This is, a world-class team. The only person that's not playing in this team is probably Pat Cummins, that have an arrest.
Yeah.
That it's not like we've played some kind of B team to play Zimbabwe. Yeah, I guess it's a dead rubber. Yeah, it doesn't mean anything, but you want to win these games, and it does have implications for qualification for the automatic.
Just take a bloke like Finchy. He needs form, and he scores 5. So
yeah. And his form's bad. They were showing the last 12 ODIs. I think there's a plethora of ducks out there. Finchy's form not the best. The second game was a walkover the other way.
Yeah, these games that you should be using as tune-ups. So that's kind of what I assume Cricket Australia is thinking of. They should be tune-up games, yes. There's a World Cup coming up, but it's, you've got to play to the format, of course. But
when you win the toss and elect to bat,
you well.
Go out and score 400.
Yeah.
I don't know. It speaks volumes, I think, to what these kind of series mean. Was it before the show that we were talking about that Zimbabwe is not going to play a top 4 ranked team in the next...
Or the big 4. What
outside of tournament cricket in the next 4 years?
Yep.
I know we kind of flog a dead horse here and ask, is T20 killing ODI cricket? Yeah, the pinnacle is the World Cup, but this kind of shit, this kind of showing, you kind of have to start thinking, what does it mean?
Yeah. Yeah, well, obviously it didn't mean too much in this, and the guys are looking ahead. They've got another month till the World Cup
about a month till the T20 World Cup kicks off. At least that's, it means something that hopefully everything will be, high intensity, well covered cricket. On the Wednesday, did anyone even really know that game was on? It's a day game in Townsville. It's a working day. It starts at 10 o'clock. By lunchtime, most people are going, I might check the cricket, and it's fucking just about over.
Yeah. To me, it feels kind of like a light sparring session where they've just gone...
Very light sparring. Very light sparring.
They've just we'll work on a few things. It's not working out for us, so let's get out of here.
Yep. And that said, credit to the Zimbabweans. Congratulations on getting the first win over on Australian soil.
Still, if they're hitting it down your throats, you still got to swallow it. They managed to do it.
That is true. That is true. Interesting on Saturday watching Brendan Julian and Nathan Lyon and the likes trying to take on some of these Zimbabwean names. I think it was encouraging for us here on the Esky of struggle to pronounce names. Yeah, that's good.
Williams.
You want to have a crack at the opener? That was the chat between Brendan Julian and Gary Lyon. Interesting to see Nathan Lyon there doing a bit of commentary and them sort of taking the piss out of each other. But geez, it was funny. I'm trying to bring out the bloke's name here. Okay, so this is his first name. I'm going to have a crack here on the Esky. Takudzwanashi Katano. Takudzwanashi Takano. I'm sure that's nowhere near. But the fact that Brendan Julian, who's been commentating for years and years and years, and Nathan Lyon out there, they're just going, let that one go through to the keeper. Good luck to you. And they did have a Zimbabwean commentator in there who nailed it. But it was funny and it was encouraging, I think, as us as amateur podcasters to see, there's blokes out there that have been out there, plying their craft for 10 years, getting paid to do it, travelling the world, and they're just going...
Still can't get it right.
No thanks, let that one go through.
They're still going Dante Schultz, so...
Dante. Listen to last week's episode to understand the context of that one. Boys, I think we've said enough that we need to say about this. Honestly, the best thing out of this series was the send-off to Roy. We spoke about it last week. Very moving, obviously, with his wife and kids, and
plus cricket in Townsville, I think.
And cricket in Townsville, they. In fact, I don't think they've ever had international cricket. You might have to fact check me on that one. I know they've played Test cricket in Cairns before. Still 3.5 hours up the road. It's it's not like they're next door neighbours. But I do believe that might be the first international cricket in Townsville. They definitely haven't played Test cricket. Have they had one days there before?
I love it because it's like springtime, so it's not fucking hot up there. It's good. Like it's a good time to be up there.
Yesterday, it was scenes like kind of suburban oval, blue skies, big shady trees, kids out and about. Like it had a nice feel about it. That's for sure.
It's not like close to 40 degrees. It's more like the high 20s, 30s.
That's right.
Like it's a good time to be up there to then play cricket as you lead into the rest of the summer.
The summer of cricket that started in August. Let's fucking go.
Exactly.
Marks, any chat there on has there been prior ODIs? Yeah, there has been.
There has been.
Oh, look, how about this? One? First T20 international, Ireland versus Papua New Guinea. Fire! Fire! Back in 2016.
Yeah.
I think it's the first time that Australia's played ODIs up there, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. It might be like the home ground for Papua New Guinea.
I think Papua.
That's probably fair, yeah.
Get him in the Sheffield Shield. Anyways,
do you want to talk about cricket that actually means something?
Yeah, it means a bit. Some of these games maybe less so. Yes. The Asian Cup is underway over there in the Emirates. We spoke about Afghanistan beating Sri Lanka last week. Mm-hmm. We do have some other group games to get through. Maybe the fiercest rivalry in world cricket, India and Pakistan. In Game 2, India defeated Pakistan by 5 wickets. Hardik Pandya, the captain, Pandya. He was the best of the Indians here, 3 for 25 with the ball, a little bit with the bat. Kohli and Jadeja both chipping in 35 odd there. This might be the first game of 3 potential matchups between India and Pakistan. They will definitely play each other now in the Super Fours, and then it could possibly be the final. Afghanistan continued their winning ways. They beat Bangladesh, really put the Mickey on Bangladesh to try and qualify for the final 4. A few blokes that no one's probably ever heard of there. Probably, I don't know, not even worth talking about. Game 4, Monkey. The Hong Kongers, they took on the might that is India. And they didn't get embarrassed. India go out and made 2 for 192. Surya Kumar Yadav, 68 not 6 sixes in that one. Virat, 59 not. He's finding a bit of form, still no ton.
Well, I saw a 35 up there as well. So yeah,
bit of form. And then the Hong Kongers went out and made 552. Really struggled facing Ravi Jadeja, but they took a liking to IPL superstars Ashdeep Singh and Avesh Khan. Avesh Khan going for 53 from his 4. So they're no slouches. The Hong Kong cricket team. Wow.
We'll get to the next game they played.
The next game. Let's go straight to it. They did get skittled by Pakistan for 38. Pakistan, very similar to the Indians, went out and made about 193. Mohammad Rizwan continuing his good run of form, 78 not. And the poor Hong Kongers, they didn't have much answer for Shabad Khan and Mohammad Nawaz. 4 for 8 and 3 for 5. That's pretty good.
to me, it reads like the Indians maybe have been a bit nicer and we're throwing up some beach balls from the hit, whereas the Pakistanis came out with like, nah, we're running the sword.
If you're a quick bowler, you don't go out there and go, I feel sorry for this bloke. If you're Avesh Khan, you're thinking, I don't give a fuck who this B-grade cricketer is from Kowloon Cricket Club. I'm putting one on his fucking teeth, and then next minute, oh shit, he's actually pretty handy. Let's not sell the Hong Kongers short here. I think they did well, very well in the Indian game, but not so much there against Pakistan. Sri Lanka beat Bangladesh in the other game. It was Kusal Mendes who we saw took a liking to the Aussies a little bit in the white ball cricket that we just played against them. He made 60 off 37. It was a close one. They win by 2 wickets, 4 balls left. That knocks Bangladesh out. Bye-bye Hong Kong, unfortunately. Unfortunately. So good to be there, there at least. It means the Super Fours kick off. Sri Lanka, Afghanistan, India, Pakistan. Afghanistan might be usurping Bangladesh in terms of white ball cricket, at least, in where they stand. And there might have been a game last night, Monks, if you wouldn't mind chasing that one up. The first of the Super Fours. Did that kick off? Afghanistan, Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka beat Afghanistan last night in the first of the Super Fours. So those 4 teams, they'll all play each other once, and then I think it's just a final straight up after that. Potential for 3 matchups between India and Pakistan.
That's it. I just want to quickly go back to that India-Pakistan game. For Kohli, a bit of a milestone for him. So he played his 100th T20, becoming the first Indian second cricketer overall to play 100 matches in all 3 forms of cricket.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, so In behind, Ross Taylor.
Ross Taylor, and that's it out of all internationals that have played 100 tests, 100 ODIs, 100 T20s. I suppose 100 tests there is probably the benchmark. I imagine 100 of the other 2 white balls probably might be
more
a fair
attainable.
few. Yeah, it might be a fair few that have done that. Oh, there you go, Virat.
Yeah, that's not all.
Virat.
He turned up in something.
He wanted to talk about hundreds.
Yeah.
He wanted to talk about hundreds.
Yeah.
Hasn't happened for quite some time that Virat would want to talk about hundreds. Yeah. That is for sure.
Yeah, over 1,000 days at the moment.
That Pakistan-Hong Kong match, that's Pakistan's largest winning margin in a T20 and Hong Kong's lowest score in a T20. So there you go.
Sometimes you don't have a good day out. Make 38.
Records are there to be broken.
There to be broken. 155 run victory for the Pakistanis. AFL Finals, should we talk it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Nah, still shit.
Better.
Let's pre-record one. Fuck me. All right. We might have seen the best first week of finals, at least in my memory.
Yeah, recent memory.
In terms of how close the games were, bit of controversy, a massive comeback last night. It all started Thursday night with the Brisbane Lions getting the hoodoo over with by beating Richmond 106 to 104 at the Gabba. We all kind of looked into this one last week. Mm-hmm. We thought, this is a danger game. Richmond always very good in finals. Maybe Brisbane a little bit unlucky to be the underdogs at home going into this one. They got the job done. Sean, your thoughts? Brisbane, obviously, your team.
Yeah, they're very happy. I think all the chat was concerned about Chris Fagan and his job. I think his record in finals was 1-7 before this. Mm-hmm. And I said it last week. I've always worried about them playing big games, especially with Dusty coming back. Mm-hmm. It was it was right for them to win. And, I think they got lucky in one regard. Tom Lynch probably should have kicked that goal to put him 9 ahead, and then that's game over. So, but luckily, he sprayed it wide. And say what you want about the review system, but
what were your thoughts?
From all the angles I've seen, to me, it looks like it goes outside and then back over. So as in
behind?
Yeah, so behind. Yeah, I think it was a fair call behind. It looked to me like it was on the outside side of the goalpost as it was going over, and it curls back a long way. So the whole talk about whether the player's reaction kind of goes in the review system, there's been chat about that because Lynch was kind of disappointed afterwards. So maybe that helped them rule in that factor. But overall, from all the angles,
it shouldn't, but subconsciously perhaps it does.
Yeah, but I think even the AFL came out and said, well, you take that into account when reviewing it.
Well, it's like in league. If you bust over and, you
celebrate.
You always celebrate. Fibbers. Few Pinocchios out there. Few Pinocchios.
Oh, well, you had your mop of the week.
Richarlison. He might have gone too hard. If Tom Lynch had ripped off his his Guernsey, in the AFL and run around the 50 and, had this horrible singlet tan, which in his defence would make sense in his sport. Maybe that's a little bit too much. I've seen some chat this week about having fucking laser beams pointing out of the top of the goals so you have a line.
So you're blinding pilots as they fly over this?
Yeah. Why are they flying over the MCG during or the Gabba in this instance?
Why not just have a camera on the top of it pointing upwards?
Yeah, that's probably easier. Or why not just let an umpire make a fucking decision and we talk about how good a game this was and not the controversy that enveloped.
To me, it looked like it went over the post, and that means it hit the post. So, I think that's fair. And, even in the Sydney game, they had to do work on the outside posts because they were swaying too much in the wind. So they had to try to strengthen them up because they were moving over a foot up above. So
before the game, I saw blokes out there. I don't know if they were putting a little bit of fucking quickset concrete down there.
I think they were putting wedges or something in it to try and set it in. So it wouldn't sway as much. But it was obviously moving a bit in the turf. So
bit of chippy chat, mate. A little bit of plum and brace. They had to get a few fucking 6 metre timbers out there.
Where'd the Rio go, bros?
Plum and brace. No Rio on this job site, bruh. Don't tell anyone. That aside,
it was a great game.
awesome game.
Huge moment for Danaher to kick the winner.
Neutral viewer here, although probably wanted to see Brisbane win, given Richmond's success over the last few years, and the big question marks that. We're not scot free. I'm putting on them. Can they win these big games? They can.
Well, you could see it afterwards. The scenes, like the relief, I guess, from both Fagan, from Lachie Neale, from the lot. Like they were so happy to play a big game and to come away with the bickies and not lose it there at the end.
Yeah,
So
yep.
and then to come from behind for a large part of that as well. They were chasing for most of that second half to get that lead. So very very happy with the results, but it's going to be a tough next week. Down
at the G.
They've got the G and they've got the Ds. So it's
Sydney just showed that it can be done.
It can be done, but I think the D's put them to the sword only a couple of weeks ago.
It was pretty one sided that last matchup.
So be another big task, and if you want to win a grand final, you gotta play in September,
and you got to beat the best in Victoria.
Yep.
So, do we want to talk the Dusty video at all?
Yeah, it was 6 years ago. Who the fuck?
Strange timing, I should say. That a video emerges the day of a final from 6 years ago of Dusty in a precarious position. I agree. I think the timing is very interesting. The lady involved obviously took no issue with it.
Well, maybe it was a ploy to help Richmond win, because after it happened to the Pies, they won 11 straight, didn't they?
That's a good point. That is a good point. After that DeGoey video, they just fucking played lights out footy, really, until yesterday. We'll talk about that in a sec. That's funny. How long have you been sitting on that one?
I just thought of that.
Oh, nice. That's very good. So Richmond gone. A lot of people were thinking, geez, they're getting right at the right time. If anyone can do it from 7th position, it's probably
Dusty's back.
Dusty, Dimmer, dynasty team. Not going to be this year. Their Mad Monday will be tomorrow. Hopefully the phones are put away.
How much groping will be on that one? Actually, I did see some boys. They showed up dressed up as man, and Kalen Ponga were taking photos in the toilet. But that was their Mad Monday outfit. So
that's funny. That's pretty funny. Just feeling a bit sick.
Yeah. We just bought a house, bro.
We just bought a house. Dad knew I was a bit sick. He'll make some comments for me. Holy hell! Interesting. All right, Friday night, the Swannies go down to the G and get the job done. Kane Corns, where are you, bruh? We spoke earlier about in the year. It was off the back of a Kane Corns article or podcast, which suggested that the Swans
Buddy dependent
are too reliable on Buddy.
Yeah,
Buddy had a stinker. He was pretty much shut down by Steve May. He kicked 0 goals, 0. I think he had 7 disposals. And the Swans go out and get the job done, and they win without a good game from Buddy. I think.
I wonder if this was maybe detrimental to the D's, as in Steve May was one-on-one, essentially taking Buddy out, and they game planned very much to take Buddy out of the game. But did it let the rest of it flow a bit nicer for them? Do they play one-sided strategy, which allowed some of those younger blokes in the Swans squad to eat in this one? Well,
the small forwards were very good. Papley had 2. Jake Lloyd getting his first 2 goals of the year in this game of halfback, avoiding the nudie. How good. Sam Reid was pretty good. Will Hayward was pretty good. But no one really, I thought, was stunning for the Swans. They just played pretty good team football, and it's maybe a bit scary, maybe a bit of a notice to everyone else. Like if Chad Warner goes out and has 30 and Buddy kicks 3, what can this team be? Do you know what I mean? If they're going out and knocking off the defending premiers, not easily but comfortably. What can they do if everyone's really firing? I think this was a bit of a warning notice to the rest of the teams in the competition.
Yeah, and they get the week off now. So.
Get the week off, rest up. a lot of the year we've spoken about, are the Swans the real deal? You know, are they too reliant on Buddy Franklin? Well, no.
Are they too young?
Are they too young? Exactly, yes. So many of their stars are under 21, under 22. We saw that in the 22, under 22 with the Swans being...
They played finals last year?
Rewarded in that. Yeah, they did. Yeah, I don't...
They didn't go very far.
No.
Oh, but hey, that's maybe what they needed.
Chase that one up. Where the Swans finished last year, I'm pretty sure they played finals.
I'll let Jimmy catch that up and correct us. But D's got to go the hard way and they've got to go through the Lions now.
Yep. In a losing effort, Bailey Fritsch very good. 3 goals for him. Clayton Oliver, he can't do it all. He tried his best in this one. 29 disposals, 2 sausage rolls. How good was the crowd? Friday night.
Across the board, like all the games.
Unbelievable turnouts. There was a great turnout at the Gabba. The Lions players and staff very appreciative of the Lions turnout. And obviously a lot of old, South Melbourne bloods turning out to mix it with the cheese eating, wine drinking Melbourne Demons fans over there. Not that there's anything wrong with that from coming off a Father's Day lunch. I must say. That's right. It was a battle of the bridge. It was a battle of the bridge last year. Mm-hmm. They lost to GWS. It's a bit of a reminder to probably how much GWS sort of fell this year and how impressive the Swans have been going the other way.
Yep.
Speaking of an impressive team that no one really expected to do much this year, Collingwood went so close to knocking off the first finishing Geelong Cats. This was another cracker. The Pies started really well, maybe a bit too well. And then Geelong just kind of roped him back in. Jeremy Cameron kicks 3. Gary Rowan, who's had a lot of kind of external stipulation as to how good a footballer he is. Does he deserve to be in this, starting 18 for the Geelong Cats? He was really good. He birded 3, could have had 4. He gave 1 off. It was a bit of a statement from him. And one of the better games of footy you'll see.
Yeah. I think... I have a feeling it's a big game that Geelong needed to win because I think having a week off for any squad is probably their squad. It needs the best. Mm-hmm. It needs it the most. So we'll have to see if that pays dividends. But I think I said the same thing last week. I figured the Pies would lose and have to do it the hard way. Mm-hmm. But maybe that's also beneficial for them to have that loss, understand where they fell down, go the hard way, come back and potentially play Geelong in the final.
Yeah, could be.
And you maybe have some extra sauce for them when they get there. So
big dampener was the Taylor Adams groin injury. Craig McRae suggesting with, I think, pre-scans that it might be ripped off the bone, which would suggest that his season is done. Unfortunate. From the Pies vice captain to go out, considering the season that they're having. But it's going to be interesting next week to see them do it the long way. They haven't lost much in recent memory. Another game that goes down to the wire and an absolute cracker. The last game was the Fremantle Dockers getting the Biggies over the Western Bulldogs there at Optus Stadium. It was the biggest Perth crowd ever in the AFL, just a tick under 60,000. Obviously, it was Freo's first final in the new stadium, and they started as cold as you could.
Yeah. I saw the scoreline earlier, and I was just like, maybe I was too right about the Doggies potentially being that dark horse coming in here, and they're going to get a big win and go on a run, and they've got the squad. But the Dockers righted the ship, and they played the good footy they needed to in the second half and wore the Bulldogs down and got the win.
Yeah, a really gutsy effort from the Dockers. Very disappointing for Dogs fans to watch a 41-point lead slip away like that. At quarter time, it was 35-1. 1 point in the first quarter, the lowest in finals history. Not the lowest for a team that's won, the lowest ever. So it speaks volumes to the comeback that Fremantle was able to conjure. 2 sausage rolls to Bond. The Bond, he looked unbelievable in that first quarter. He had a pretty handy game himself. And speaking of handy, Caleb Sarong and Andy Brayshaw, 33 and a goal, 32 and a goal. Luke Beveridge in the post-match presser said it was like death by 1,000 paper cuts. Watching Fremantle come back and chase down his Western Bulldogs. We were asking the question last week: are they smoky? Are they dark horses? They've won it from 7th before. All the talent in the world, but for whatever reason, just turned off. I don't know if it was a fitness thing. I don't know if
the Bulldog season, like that's very stereotypical on form for them. They've let it down when they needed to lift, and they've just don't have it this year, unfortunately, and their season's done, and they'll have Mud Monday tomorrow.
Still a great group. I think going into 2023,
lot to build around.
And we saw Sam Darcy, son of Sean Darcy, looking really good, looking tall, man. He's like the same size as Tim English out there. Yeah. With possibly silkier skills and possibly moving forward, going to be a really good full forward in this league. But it doesn't matter how talented you are, that they're going home. And credit to Fremantle for showing the grit and determination to come back from. It would be pretty embarrassing, I reckon, going into that huddle at the end of the first quarter and going and look at your coach and think, oh fuck, there's 60,000 people here that come to watch us, and we've just shut up. To come back and play the way that they did. It's gonna be very interesting next week in these matchups. Yeah, well,
at home probably definitely helped with a massive crowd. Back them, and they helped get them up. Same thing. What's that going to be like when they got to play them in Victoria?
Both games at the G next week. Friday night, we have the Melbourne Demons taking on the Brisbane Lions. As aforementioned, the Lions pretty well pasted by the Demons last time.
You want to grab us some odds?
Last time they met. Yeah, if you wouldn't mind chasing up the odds, I'll tell you the Saturday game and then we'll go back to the odds on that one. Saturday is the Pies taking on the Dockers. At 7:30 Saturday night on the MCG. Just something briefly, Sean, we were speaking about it pre-pod. Thoughts on having the back-to-back game on the Saturday and no Sunday game?
I'd personally like to spread it out because we've just been treated to a terrible Canberra Raiders versus Tigers game.
Great game for Canberra Raiders fans.
Yeah. But I think you could potentially play something on there and spread it across the 4 days.
Yeah.
Maybe the Thursday night game, shifting it instead of having it on a Thursday night. Depend.
I love that, to be honest.
Yeah.
To be honest, going, all right, it's Thursday night. Let's fucking go.
But then again, we'd be happy to have at least a football game on every single day.
Possibly kind of biased, and to consider that we like both rugby league and AFL. A lot of people don't give a fuck either way. They're rugby league or they're AFL, and they don't care what kind of clash there is. They're going to be watching their particular sport.
Yeah. But I think first week of finals, NRL's playing the last week of their season.
Sunday Arvo final.
Yeah, well, you can compete easily. Like, you're going to take all the viewership and you make that week AFL finals, essentially. And then you build that storyline for people to tune in for next week when the NRL's then, competing. But I've said it before, I think the AFL's basically sewn up a lot of the country anyway outside of Sydney. So
they're probably going the right way.
Yeah.
And
I'm not too worried.
Outside of Sydney and all of Queensland.
Yeah.
And northern New South Wales. But it's that I agree with you that the AFL is kicking goals when in terms of viewership and general interest, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Let's get some picks and odds.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep my Judas form going just purely because it seems to be working. So I'm going to pick the D.
You're a Judas. You're a Judas. Monks, have you got the odds for that one? I'm going to go the D's as well. I think the likes of Max Gawn and Clayton Oliver and Petrarca are too good to not be going deep again.
Yeah, I think Big O is going to be Brisbane will be sweating on him a little bit. They lost him in the second minute of that game. McStay played really well.
What's the injury?
Not sure. I think it might have been concussion. I think it might have been a head knock to leave that early because he was sitting on the bench for the rest of the game. But maybe chase that up to confirm for that. So, but Big Stay did a really good job filling in and playing.
Sure did. Undersized ruckman. I think he's one. I think he's shorter than I am.
Yeah.
What have I done with my life?
Well, I think the leaping ability is probably what made up for it. So.
There's his calves, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He's got some.
Yeah, he's got a better than a 10-inch vert. So
10 inches. That's big, some might say. McInerney ruled out to concussion. So with the AFL protocols of 11 days, is that he'll have to miss next week?
when are they playing Saturday?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It'll be 9 days.
I think he'll have to miss it. I think he'll have to miss it. So, do they call up their
VFL? Are we going to get McStay on
their VFL ruckman, or do they ask McStay or Darcy Fort possibly to come do the job? Big ask against Max Gawn.
Oh yeah, anyone in that list is going to be a big ask. Big O's been great for this year to play in that spot, and that's a good matchup and battle against Gawn. But without Big O missing, that could be a big risk. Yeah, especially through that middle field speaking of the midfield, that's the battle all over the place. Like
both teams, unbelievable midfields.
Exactly. So that could be the matchup. That's where the game could be won in that clearance game. So.
Amongst the odds, please, the odds do suggest Melbourne going to be starting strong favourites.
Melbourne home.
Yeah. So I don't know if I could put a curse on Melbourne picking them as well, but I'll certainly try. They are favourites, $1.38. Brisbane are underdogs, $3.08 there. We have a line of 18.5.
Seems a lot for a finals game. What do we have this week? Every game there's the Swans Melbourne game was 22 points, but everything else closer than that, which is great for neutrals and the like. Carlton fans. Happy that Collingwood lost, that's for sure.
Well, speaking of which, they take on the Dockers then again at the G as well.
Let's go. Is this Saturday night? Yes, it is. It's Saturday night.
They're both Saturday?
Friday night, Saturday.
Friday, Saturday. Sorry,
night,
yes. Yeah, I saw they were both on it at 7:50ish. Yeah, 7:30ish roughly games. Yep, Friday and Saturday. So I'm still sticking with the Pies that do it the hard way, and I think the Dockers outside of Western Australia might struggle a little bit, especially if they start like they did against the Bulldogs. They're not going to have the crowd to push them back into that in a football game like that. And Pies have been good all year. So,
yep, I would agree 100% with you. Pains me to say, I think Flagmantle chat ends this weekend. And I think the Pies get it done. They've just shown that ability to win football games no matter what. This year we've been looking at how many games that they've won by less than 2 kicks, and it's phenomenal. And even the games that they lose, like we saw on the weekend, it was very competitive against the Premier side in the competition. I'll go the Pies too.
Monks?
Yep. I'm going to be different.
Hey, go on.
Yeah,
let's go. Flagmantle.
Yep. I'll go Dockers here. They are underdogs, $2.61. Collingwood are favourites, $1.50, and we have got a line of 12.5.
So what's that mean? Does that mean if they win Geelong D's
who gets
game?
who? Yeah, have you got the brackets there?
So whoever wins Collingwood Fremantle will go up against Sydney, and whoever wins out of D's Lions will go up against Geelong.
Yeah, that's what I thought it would be.
Interesting.
Yeah, some big matchups next.
Next few weeks.
So,
let's go get into the business end of the
Finals
AFL Finals footy.
Yeah.
Let's talk some rugby league.
That's good. I like that one.
I've done better.
But off your sound effects is probably you.
We're going to talk about the last round in the NRL. The Raiders have just flogged the fuck out of the Tigers. We have a top 8. We have a matchup we already kind of knew, but we've got matchups for next weekend in terms of the first week of the finals, and we'll also be kind of looking back at what we had predicted for the NRL this year. Hit some on the head. Missed a few, but mostly not too bad with our predictions. Boys, a big win for Parramatta on Thursday night. They came out 22-14 winners against the Melbourne Storm. I think that's the second time that they've knocked them off. I was watching the Lions-Tigers game, as I imagine you would have done, Sean, for this one. I did catch the replay. It looked like Dylan Brown and Mitch Moses, very, very good. Para jump into fourth. Melbourne finish fifth. They will play the Canberra Raiders. Melbourne, a bit of a slide, it seems, late in the year. They're coming off 2 losses, lost to the Chooks last week. What's our thoughts here? Obviously, the Esky chat is always that Parramatta is the Dave Grohls of the NRL, the pretenders, etc., etc. I don't know. They're starting to show a bit of promise, or have they done this before and then they just go, well, they get Marcy and not like the others?
Did you say it? They get Penrith, don't they?
Penrith.
Yeah, which is, that's the rivalry, the matchup. We've talked about that all year. So I do like that as a test. Penrith played a baby squad this week.
Yeah, can't go off this week's performance.
No, not at all. But Melbourne at home against the Raiders have famously played a lot of really good strong games as well. A bit of rivalry there between Bellamy and Ricky Stewart. So I think should be a good game of footy. I'd say Melbourne probably going to win it though.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that in just a second.
Yeah,
but I also tend to agree. Sorry, at my Raiders fans, boys. Early on in the year, I think we were pretty close. We kind of had this the other way around. We had sort of Melbourne bottom end of that top 4, Parramatta top end of that next 4.
Yeah.
Pretty fucking close. I don't think
they're in the top 8.
No, not many surprises really.
No,
outside of the top 4. Finishes.
But Cowboys was the surprise team.
Cowboys was the big surprise. Canterbury beat Manly Friday night. It was a field goal from Matt Burton that got them over the line. Braden Burns, the centre for the Bulldogs, he had a cracker. Boys, our predictions earlier on in the year, I was maybe a touch bullish with the Bulldogs. I thought the signings, of Burton and Addo Carr and Pangai Jr., may have shown a little bit more promise than they did. They looked pretty ordinary at the start of the year, and then the last few weeks kind of started looking like a reasonable footy team. I said 9th. I think Monks, you went 11th. Sean, credit where credit's due. Got it exactly where they finished with 12th. And I think I was watching our predictions earlier on today. I think you said something along the lines of maybe they're a year off, like maybe everyone has to come together and meet each other, have a season together, and then kind of move forward.
Yeah, well, they got their first batch of free agents. They probably need another couple to come in to kind of build that squad. What's the Gus Gould effect going to be? I think they're probably a year away and. See what they look like next year. Maybe they can then target that 8th spot. I think it's probably a good spot for them next year. But yeah, not overall. Well, they didn't get the spoons. Probably the main thing. So you can say that's it's an improvement. So yes, a disappointing season, but it also wasn't the worst.
Yep. I
Manly, on the other hand,
this was a disappointing season.
I think we all kind of had them. Top 4.
Yeah,
I
think you had them 4th, and then
as high as 4th. Yeah,
and I think maybe we might have had them 5th. Or
we
all had them top 8. We all had them top 8. Caveat, the best player in the world gets
healthy
hurt.
Turbo. I think we said that as well. Like healthy Turbo means a big difference.
Yep.
But also
double caveat.
Yeah. Since Pride round, they didn't win a single game. So. What was that? Is that
I think 5 in a row?
5 or 6?
I think it was 5. I'll chase that one up.
Women in League week. What was that, James? That's an easy way to remember it.
Or I can just scroll.
Scroll.
You can scroll your phone if
their
you want.
form's 0-5. So
some recent reports that
it was 6 because the Dragons beat him the week before that.
Yeah, there you go.
Sneaky flex. Sneaky flex. But it derailed their season.
Definitely. They couldn't come back from that. And I think they led a lot of this game as well and fell apart again. So there are reports that Hasler, old Des, may pack it in, as in kind of maybe seeing the writing on the wall. He's been left out of there. He'll quit the Manly job. Hard to see it.
Do you buy into that?
Well, the roster's coming from his camp. So that's the worrying sign. Whether that's he's going to go before he gets pushed. I kind of feel like they're going to blow it up and start again. Like they're going to maybe move some of those guys that cause some of these issues, and Kieran Foran's moving on. They'll try to rebuild another squad around DCE before DCE's career ends. That's kind of what it feels like to me, and they'll go away and try to get a coach to be able to do that. Be surprising if that all happens, but that's kind of the feeling, I guess, as the reports coming out, and with the way the season's kind of gone and ended, I think it could be the way. The Hasler's like, I've had enough of this. They hang me out to dry, and I don't see much coming my way to help improve this. I'm going to go do something else.
What does he do?
I'd be surprised. I'd be surprised.
That's the thing. Like, if he's not coaching the Seagulls, like.
You go to Super League if you want to do. Like he has a good job anyway. I think he'd be more like, I'll take a couple of years off. Like he's done it. He's done everything. He doesn't need to do anymore.
He's achieved it. He's a premiership winning coach at two different teams. I don't know. I feel like that might be a little bit more headliney, kind of clickbaity. I feel like if anyone's going to go, it might be some of the players that were involved in potentially derailing the season.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens come off season. What happens there? Surprisingly, the Titans and Knights still have their head coaches, so I think they should be going first before Hasler does. But anyway,
we'll talk about that in just a second. Friday night, we saw a pretty cracking game to open up the new stadium, Allianz Stadium. I'll send you boys a little screenshot. Unfortunately, maybe the design of some of the seats not the best.
I've heard some bad stuff. I think they played a rugby game there as well, and some of the seats are falling apart already. Like, maybe they rushed the construction of this a little bit. 30-minute beer lines, I think, was the biggest gripe.
Oh, fuck me! I don't care if you can't see a quarter of the field. If you've got to wait half an hour for a beer, tell you what, Jesus Christ!
Some teething issues, I think, at the new stadium.
The other gripe, I guess, is that it's the old stadium with new lights and painted seats. Yeah. Like it's for the money that they put into it. It doesn't seem to be.
Yeah, well, they knocked down
that
a bit
state of the art,
rebuilt it. So.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyways, maybe we need to go and see it firsthand, and then we can report back.
Well, you remember
excuse.
famously the guys that got that contract only quoted for the demolition. And that's why they got all the money. And then it was like, oh, no. Well, the Sydney government thought they were getting like $1 billion stadium for 150 mil. And like, no, we only quoted on the demo work. So, yeah, it's a shit show from the beginning. Let's put it that way.
Dodgy contractors. I won't read into it. I won't believe
Where's the Rio, bro?
Second. Where's the Rio, bro? Where's the Rio? We did think, will or would that the coaches go the Ivan Cleary route and rest a few of the guys, considering it's going to be the same matchup next week.
Game next week, yeah.
And we saw Joey Manu tearing his calf.
3 to 6 weeks.
Cam Murray.
Another concussion category 1 for him, so he's probably out. And he's already had concussions this year, so yeah, big outs already.
My thinking going into this, these two teams, they're traditional rivals. They fucking hate each other's guts. New stadium, I think the moment may have been too big to be resting players. Hindsight is 2020 as well. I don't think you can Monday morning quarterback it and go, I shoulda, woulda, coulda done this. But it's some massive outs next week, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah, well, definitely. All big players, captain there and an integral part of their backline. So, yep. We'll have to see what comes of next week. I guess the most disappointing of this game was that Alex Johnson didn't get his double.
So no 30 on the regular season.
Unlucky there.
I think all the records, I think they include postseason. I'm pretty sure. So he could be...
He'd still get a double next week, but yeah.
Bro, he could be breaking records like this year. He's not going to get Ken Irvine 38, but he might go to 2 or 3 in single season tries.
Yeah. The other news out of the Roosters camp is the Suwali and Tedesco. A bit of chat about that. We're going to have to move Tedesco to keep Suwali because Rugby Australia is chasing him.
That's what I think of that.
If anything,
Tedesco's not going anywhere.
No.
He's the best player in rugby league. There is a legitimate concern around Suwali, or as we should be saying, Suali'i.
Yes. Yeah.
That's only come out in the last few weeks. But Suali'i, Joseph Suali'i. Rugby is very, very interested in trying to poach him. I imagine there'll be some big money.
Well, Roosters already poached him from Souths originally.
That
was the original. But he had grown up playing rugby, and Rugby Australia, after what he's done, we're throwing big money at him. And they've got, old school money too, so they can do that with. Roosters can only really pay in Hiluxes and Mercedes. So
Sombrero.
Yeah. So we'll have to see.
I like how you put Hilux up there, same level as Mercedes as well.
Well, yeah.
Pumping up my tires over here, Hilux Travel.
The way
Great resale
brand
value.
new ones, the cost, and they hold their resale value. But either way, it's we talked to Joseph Manu as well. Could potentially move into 6. Whether they move Teddy into 6 to give the fullback role to Suwali.
Nah, I don't see that happen in a million years. I think Joey Suali'i, if he's going to be part of the Chooks' long term plan, I think he'll have to play centres.
He doesn't want to. That's the reports.
Well, take the rugby money.
Well, yeah, take the rugby money or go elsewhere.
Dragons take him.
Back to South, maybe.
We're going to play 1-6. We got it. We got it for you.
We only have a halfback. You can play anywhere else.
Yeah, that we lowballed this week. We'll get to the Dragons in a second. Let's talk Titans and Warriors. The Titans getting a nice comeback win over there at Mount Smart Stadium, 27-26 winners. Didn't watch this. I was watching the Aussie rules, but bit of a cracker by all accounts. Didn't mean anything, but
they rested Reece Walsh for the last 14 minutes, or the last 20 minutes of the game, and they scored 14 points. So.
14 points for the Titans.
So
in the last 7 minutes.
he was literally on the blower to the coach. Was like, "Is there a substitution? Can you put me back on?"
Yeah, right.
But they've the Warriors going to Warriors, and the Titans going to do silly things. So Tigers get the spoon. That's probably the main thing out of this. And Holbrook has survived the season. We'll see the post-season review whether that lasts.
We had
actually. Did you see Big Tino? He gave away so much of his clothes. He was walking around in his budgie smugglers.
Good on him.
Yeah, taking photos and stuff like that.
Big Tino for Asasua Malata, where he's
love him.
He's
over
a
there.
good bloke. Yeah, I'd hate to run it straight at him. Hate to run it straight. But he seems to be taking this captaincy thing pretty well. Obviously, an underwhelming season from both of these teams.
He's the only decent player on that squad. Let's put it that way. They're going to go away and build around him.
Yeah. Our predictions, we had them all missing the 8, both teams, Titans, Warriors. I think Titans we had sort of around 12th, I think. Warriors a bit lower, I think. I think we're kind of thinking 14th, 15th for them, maybe vice versa. Disappointing season from both these sides. I imagine, what are we now? 25 hours since the finishing of this game. I reckon they'd both be getting stuck into a few screwy moy-moys at the moment and starting to think about next year.
Big time.
Yep.
It was good to see, I guess, the Warriors play some actual football in New Zealand this year.
Yeah, that's been the nice thing of this season after 2 years of being the Central Coast Warriors and the impact that's had with coaches and big signings saying that they don't want to go even back and play in New Zealand where the team is based out of. I think it's good for the Warriors as well.
You do remind me of the Matt Lodge, of course, being the big famous one of that, and there's now chat for him as a kangaroo spot with some of the other big
thin.
forwards.
Our front row looks thin.
Yeah,
it looks
does.
thin.
But I guess Roosters, the system, resurgency, etc. But anyway,
sombreros.
Yeah.
Saturday afternoon, a highly anticipated game.
For you guys, bro.
The Dragons coming out 22-12 winners against the Brisbane Broncos. Interesting under Hook. There's 6 ex-Broncos in that Dragon side, so a little bit of some animosity.
Rumours, I think McCulloch's going to retire at the end of the year as well. I don't think he could get a deal, stay or a deal elsewhere, so I think he's 33 as well.
He's played 300 games. Hooker.
He was out there in 19. I was just like, who's that second rower? Because he's looking at me. He's been on that Greg Burton, Josh Maguire diet. So
Heavy.
thick. Yeah, thick thick boys.
With 2 C's.
Actually, I think it might be the
He's
white.
on the Lizzo diet.
The white and the red V. Just it's not slimming. I think it's the problem.
He goes, I'm fat here. I'm fucking fat here. Jesus. And stones and glass houses and the rest of it, of course.
Yeah, elite athletes here on the table.
That aside, the ex-Bronco that has been outstanding for the Dragons this year is Ben Hunt. I watched this game. I didn't care that it was a dead rubber. I'm a die-hard. I watched it. He was unreal. He had his 6th 40-20 of the year. It was on a 5th tackle.
Which I think is double anyone else and was more than he had. Yeah, I think he had 4 in like his career leading up to that. Or something.
It was a momentum. It was a momentum turning thing as well. Yeah. That was part of a 560 metre kicking game.
In that point there, I think Brisbane were kind of had a bit of ascendancy.
And
just turned the game on his head.
Exactly.
And they scored, 2 sets later. Like, it's exactly what
he's been unbelievable. He had his 20th try assist for the year.
He plays for such a shit club.
Settle.
Hang on.
Settle. Should we get out some of the old tape last year about Sean saying how he's overpaid and the rest of it? Pay him everything. That's going to be interesting. The contract.
The
contract debate. Apparently, the Dragons have lowballed him and only offered $750.
There were some reports during the commentary we were talking during that game that he wants to stay. Like it's close, so probably he stays to the Dragons. But there's at least like 3 other clubs chasing him, and he's in the same boat as Munster. He doesn't come off contract till November. Because he's got another year.
Yeah,
and I'm kind of thinking like if the Finns miss out on Munster, like why wouldn't you not turn around and try throwing that money at Ben Hunt?
Yeah,
especially like if he could end up winning the Dally M, being the best player in a very shit team, as I said before, he's going to get all the votes, which would be if he does win it, it'd be only the 3rd time in the last 30 years that a player at the top, a team not playing finals will get the Dally M. So yeah, again back to my point of shit team. Best player in it by far.
You've said it 3 times now. I think I said it at the start of the year. A gentleman's 10th would suffice. Did I not say that?
Yeah. Well,
and where did we finish? A gentleman's 10th. A gentleman's 10th. They didn't finish.
But if you're not playing finals full, you might as well be last.
Come on, Ricky Bobby. If you're not first, you're last. Hell, you can be 2nd, 3rd, 4th. Hell, you can even be 10th.
Yeah.
Look, from where they were touted, moggered to finish, if you will. They finished 10th. No one expected anything out of them. Some people had them, erroneously.
That's just for you boys.
As being a wooden spoon winner.
Well, if they didn't have Ben Hunt, they probably would get the spoon.
And that's fair. That's fair criticism. And the criticism shall be taken. And gentlemen's 10th, hopefully the boys are enjoying their silly Sunday, Mad Monday operations. Yes. There was reports that the club said they can't have a Mad Monday.
Yeah, well, they've got just Maguire in that squad. Like, they need to be careful.
They'll be right. Just fucking phones in the bag. That's got to be a rule. Phone, you pick that up on fucking Tuesday.
Yeah, like you're walking into Home Affairs or something. Just lock all that shit up. So.
Don't need no Home Affairs chat here on the Esky, I don't think.
ASIO then, all right.
So seriously, do we think Ben Hunt can win the Dally M?
In all the games that they've done well, he's going to poll the 3 votes.
He's not going to have guys taking votes.
There's literally no one taking votes off him. So yeah, I definitely think he's
a good shout.
He's a good shout. Clearly the best player in that team by far. It's just whether like Nathan Cleary can't win it. He's missed games.
Yep.
Dorian Hughes, Cameron Munster can't win it. Missed games.
Nico Hines.
Yeah. Oh, Nico Hines maybe up there. Maybe someone of the Cowboys. I don't think Townsend would get enough.
I don't think Townsend will get enough. I don't think Taumalolo's done enough. I think they've been a real team effort. Val Holmes has been very good.
Big T in his budgie smugglers.
Big boy, eh?
Yeah.
Nice chest hair. Yeah. Very little. Interesting. Hey.
Yeah, well, it's all grown on his head.
Yeah. Any comment? Any comment regarding chest hair?
He's got his name across the back of his... At least he's got big shoulders to fit his name across the back of his shoulders.
Ooh. yeah. That's a fair, valid point. To fit fast, I saw my latter way on the back of...
It's a big daddy.
On the back. that's probably enough about the Dragons. I think Ben Hunt is a good shout to win the Dally M. It'd be nice if you could see some fucking odds, but some two idiots had to ruin that for everyone a few years ago. But yeah, I think watch out for Ben Hunt.
So do you want to talk about the Carlton Broncos?
Yeah, if there is any parallels between two teams' seasons this year, between the NRL and the AFL, it is the Carlton Blues and it is the Brisbane Broncos. The Broncos were fourth in round 19, just
keeping pace with the Cowboys.
Yep, Cowboys. Playing unreal. Reynolds signing of the year chat.
I think Nico Hines will win that.
I reckon so. And
quite
it just fell apart. They went 1-5 to finish the season. Their only win in that run being the Newcastle Knights. It's interesting because they ended up being close with our predictions. We'd said 10th, 11th, 12th. They finished 9th, so that's still better than
still
people
better than the Spoon.
Yeah. So. People had been expecting, but what it could have been, shoulda, coulda, woulda chat has to come into it.
Fell apart.
Fell apart. Do you think Kevy's under a bit of hate? People was saying that he blew up too much a few weeks ago.
Well, I think they needed it. They've got 100 points put on them. I think that's warranted at that point.
I agree.
Your season's on the line. If you're not going to do anything, then you might as well have packed your bags and not have played against the Dragons this week. So I think the big issue is maybe some of those guys that played for Queensland had been a bit unders, like Catewell dropped everything coming his way. He'd played dismal since the Origin period, and a few others as well. And Cobbo in and out of the squad.
Carrigan suspension probably played into it.
Yeah, exactly. And they're big guys that they'd relied on early in the season had played a little bit worse towards the back end of the season, and they lose Reynolds every other game with something. So, which is always the issue with Adam Reynolds. He's going to have a little bit of something bigly. But he played all right throughout the years. So, same with Canterbury. I think we were kind of saying the same thing. They're probably got to get that young talent in. They're a year away. They need to build around that, and we'll see what it looks like. Got Reece Walsh coming next year. So we'll have to see how that all fits together and what they can do as a squad.
The Cowboys towed up the Baby Panthers last night. Panthers had rested all 13 of their starters. Val Holmes has had a ripping season. He had a hat-trick last night.
Can you get the try scorers? Because Hudson Young scored a double. I just want to see how far away he was from Nanai in the end. I assume Nanai
still a fair. I would have thought, a little bit behind him. But the second highest try scorer that
19-16
in Hudson Young. I don't think we need to read too much into this one. The Cowboys did jump briefly into second, but with Cronulla did win just before, did they not?
Yeah, they beat you.
So the Cowboys will finish third, so they'll have to play Cronulla in Sydney next week, and Penrith. It's going to be interesting to see how they go next week. With all these starters back, and obviously Cleary and Luai will be a little bit underdone, but definitely the team to beat. Sean, you want to run us through the try scorers there?
Alex Johnson with 28, Corey Oates with 20, Nanai was 17, Tyler May was 16, Adakar 16, Cobbo 15, but I was looking for Hudson.
I think he had 11 last week. Did he finish with 13?
He must be 13. He'd probably say 11, so if you scroll down, it'd be there at 11.
It also might not be updated.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, so it's 11. 13. So I think he finished with 13.
Yeah. Which is a pretty...
He's had a fucking good season. He's had a really, really good year. Hudson Young.
Swally, they're 15, Tupu, 15.
Suali'i.
Sorry.
Yeah, no.
After.
It's hard, man. To be honest, it is hard. Boys, I am bussing for a wee. Can you run us through, please, the Cronulla Newcastle game and the Raiders smoking the Tigers this afternoon, if you wouldn't mind?
So I think we've covered a lot of it there. The Sharks did win that game, beat Cronulla. They did finish second, James.
Yep, they finished second, 18 points. Just ahead of the Cowboys there.
Yeah,
sorry, not 18 points, 18 wins, 38 points.
Yeah. Niga Hines in that conversation, definitely the buy of the year. He's played excellent at 7. Yeah. We kind of all thought they'd maybe not be in the top 4 in that 6th, 7th, and 7th kind of range. But they've outplayed all of that and played second. And I think outside of Nicky Hines, getting guys like Dane Finucane and Fitzgibbon as a coach, they've just been excellent. So I'd be interested to see what that squad does come finals footy, how deep they can go. But time will tell. We'll have a brief look at that in a second. And as we mentioned, Wests got demolished by Canberra. Canberra was scoring a point a minute at one point. Put it in first gear for that second half and just ran it out. We're 56-10 winners overall.
56-10,
Pumped them. So I think that ended up being about 100 point differential for them in the last 2 weeks as well, which didn't help Brisbane's chances. So we had them all finishing 8th. So they've finished exactly where we thought they were in 8th.
I think I had the Dragon sitting there at 8.
You might have,
Token, but
that's what we thought. They'd sneak their way in, and they've done that. Xavier Savage has come on leaps and bounds. He took over that fullback job, winning that from Nick Klostek. I think Peps has put my quote in there of most electrifying player in the team isn't starting. So he's now going to have that fullback role going forward. Did have a HIA assessment in this game, and I think that's probably his biggest issue going forward is going to be getting that professional size and dealing with the little niggles and the bumps that come with being a professional footballer week in, week out. Because that's what he's, been struggling with is getting those big hit ups and getting those licks.
That's it.
So we'll see.
It's a long season.
See what he can do come finals football. See what the Raiders can do. I don't like their chances against the Storm. But we will see. We will see.
Yeah. I mean, huge props for them to get to where they are in the season. It's been a very up and down season, I guess.
They had to win out. They had to win the last 5 games. Can you
Something
check
like
their record there? I know they won the last 4, but
the record was 4-1.
Yeah, so they've really had to win out to get there, and they did that. And thankfully, Brisbane was helping them out as well. Being terrible and losing as many games as they did. So
that's it.
So I guess that means we should probably talk finals footy. Perhaps just come back to the table. We've got Penrith Parramatta, Sharks Cowboys, Storm Raiders, Roosters Rabbits. What nights are those games on there, James?
Yes. So Penrith Panthers will be the first game of the week on the Friday night. And then Storm Raiders, Sharks, Cowboys will be on the Friday. And then we've got Roosters and Rabbitohs on the Sunday there. So
we've got 3 games on the Friday there, James?
Did I say Friday?
Might have misspoken.
Probably. Saturday.
Yes, on the Saturday. So one on the Friday, 2 on the Saturday, 1 on the Sunday.
That's it. Yes. So I suppose out of that, I guess, Melbourne Storm are at home down in Melbourne, which will be a big one for them. But do you want to start at the top of the list and run through our thoughts? Yeah,
maybe chase some odds. Paris beaten Penrith this year. Can they go out and do it? That's
where they play in this game. Are they going to play that?
I think it'll be out. I think it'll be out west.
Bluebet Stadium.
Yep.
The Sharks got their home game as well. Points bet. Yeah. Which is great. I like to see the suburban grounds getting, especially in the first week of these finals. Obviously, these tickets will go like absolute fucking hotcakes. But the atmosphere will be electric.
I did see during the week that I think it was New South Wales Rugby League was saying, we can't play finals games at Leichhardt in the future. And I was like, the West Tigers aren't playing finals games at Leichhardt. Oh, come on, bro. I don't think you need to worry about that.
You don't need to worry about that shit. Oh, jeez. Not for a long time. No. It'll be a pumping atmosphere out there.
Yeah, so Paris beat them both times this season.
They beat them twice, hey? Yeah.
I think Penrith, fully strength squad. I believe everyone's back. I'm going to go with Penrith.
The bookies seem to think that way. I'm going to think that way, but surely that's a big mental advantage for the Eels to go into this to think, look, we haven't played outstanding footy week by week. We spoke about the Broncos doing them at home, not that long ago.
Yeah.
It's
hot and cold.
Hot and cold indeed. I'll go.
The last month has been good though.
It's been great. It's been really good. They're getting hot at the right time. Dylan Brown's playing great footy. Mitch Moses is playing great footy. Gutho's playing great footy. The forward pack's good. But yeah, I think Penrith might just be that little bit too classy, a little bit too experienced now. You know,
they're the minor primary for a reason.
Yeah, and 2 years ago we started. You know, it was kind of an inverse kind of conversation that was saying, does Penrith have the experience in these big games? Well, now they do. Yeah, they've been to 2 grand finals. They've won one. I think that they'll be feeling fresh after a week off for all the starters. I think Cleary coming back will be massive. I think Penrith get the job done.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's hard to get past Penrith. They are favourites $1.37. The Eels are out at $3.10. We've got a line of 8.5.
Big line. I don't know if I like that. I think and I hope it'll be a close game. But three Penny Panthers here.
Yep.
Sharks Cowboys.
This is
Shark Park.
Yeah, and 2 of the kind of underdog. Well, the 2 teams that kind
surprise
of
packets.
played. Yeah, surprise packets is the word that I'm after. The 2 teams that played overs this year, given expectations. Nico Hines, was speaking very highly of him and how good he's been this year.
And then Chad Townsend and Tom Deaton on the other side also being.
But a few people, like including us, maybe kind of thought, Chad Townsend, Tom Deaton, come on,
that's not going to work. Come on,
that's not a premiership winning halves combination. Well, it's pretty fucking close at this stage. They've played really well. We spoke before about Val Holmes. Todd Payton would be pretty proud of the way that his boys have gone about it this year. I'm going to go the Sharks at home. I think that the home ground advantage here is massive. Obviously, the Sharks had to lose today to the Knights for this game to be in Townsville. They went out and played pretty well. I think in front of their home crowd there at PointsBet, I think they'll be too strong.
Yeah, I tend to agree, but I think this will be a very close football match.
What do the bookies think, Monks?
Yeah, I agree with you boys as well. And so the bookies are Sharks are favourites at $1.71. The Cowboys are $2.15. And Sean, you're right. It's going to be a very close game with a line of 2.5.
Yeah, that's what it feels like to me. Storm Raiders. I assume that's in Melbourne.
It is in Melbourne. The Raiders have kind of played pretty well against the Storm in recent years.
Bit of a bogey side for the Storm down there in Melbourne.
Yeah.
So
that said, finals game, Munster fucking lighting up stadiums. Jerome Hughes been very good. Yes, they are on a 2-game slide, the Melbourne Storm, but I think they'll have the finals experience and just the talent to get over the Raiders here. But yeah,
well, who'd they lose to in those 2 games?
They lost to the Chooks and they lost to Penrith. No, they beat Penrith a few weeks ago. They lost to Chooks last week, and who did they lose to this week? Parramatta. We're just talking about it.
Yeah, so they've, Storm have only lost to top 8 squad.
Great.
So they've been
teams.
good competitive football games. So it's not like they went out there and threw up a donut against, say, the Tigers or something. Or Dragons maybe. So I think they, even out of those losses, they're probably rolling into the finals where they need to be. They've been playing some good competitive footy. They've got a good squad. I don't really like the Raiders' chances. The Raiders have been overall, I'd say, disappointing. Watching some of the that Raiders Dragons game was one. It was like none of these guys are winning finals.
It's shocking at times.
Yeah. So I don't think the Raiders can shock Melbourne. I think the Storm are going to win.
What do the bookies think, Monks? And are you brave enough to back the green machine for an away win?
No, unfortunately not. I'm going to have to go to Storm here. Down in Melbourne, you can't get past them. The bookies reckon that's the story. With them being favourites $1.35, the Raiders are outside at $3.25. We've got a line of 9.5.
I hope it'll be a bit closer than that line suggests, and I'd like to be proven wrong. With the Dragons gone, obviously our 2 teams here, we do live in Canberra. It's probably our de facto second team. Although, I don't know if I'd like to deal with any loudmouth Canberra fans if they do. But we've got some crackers lined up for next week. Obviously, the next time that we podcast, 2 teams will be going home, and we'll have an even closer picture of what the prelim finals will be looking like.
Well, finish with Roosters Rabbits, doing the.
Oh,
well, they've already played one, so it's very forgettable. So they're going to play that game again.
What I just said, just imagine I said it like in 90 seconds. Obviously, the Chooks and the Rabbitohs have to do battle Sunday. They did just bash each other up this week. We did speak about Joey Manu and Cameron Murray probably missing this game. Monks, if you wouldn't mind bringing up the odds, I like what the Chooks have been doing. Obviously, they got the bickies here against the Rabbits, and they've beaten some quality sides in the last month of footy. Yeah. I'm gonna go with the Chooks, but this one should be very close as well, and there'll be some passion involved. These two teams legitimately hate each other.
Yeah, I'm gonna do something different and pick the Rabbits.
I like it. Any kind of thinking there, Latrell, unstoppable when he's on.
You play a game so close together, I usually give a little bit of a tidbit to the losing side to have learnt a lot about.
Do their homework.
Yeah, do their homework. And so I'd say they'd come out, be a bit better. And I think Manu is a bigger loss than Murray is.
Yep. Yeah, that's reasonable. Monks, if you wouldn't mind the odds in your tip, please.
Yep. I'll go Roosters. I got nothing really more to say about that. So I'll go straight to the odds. They are favourites at $1.55.
I picked the Roosters because they are a farm animal.
What are the odds,
how well this is going. Rabbits are underdogs, $2.45. I said it, but I'll say it again. Roosters are favourites, $1.55. And the line is 4.5.
And all that shit I said 2 minutes ago, imagine I said.
Right. All right. Who the fuck is this guy?
Who the fuck is this guy?
Rugby segment. That's a good intro for that.
Who the fuck is this guy? Someone fucking sound record that, Conor McGregor.
Sound like that one.
Yeah, we don't know anything about rugby, but we'll just tell you what happened. New Zealand smoked Argentina.
Yeah, after we said last week about, what's happening in New Zealand? What's going on?
Yeah, they listened to the Esky, bro.
Yeah, we guess we better show up and pumped them.
They said,
Fire
shit.
them up.
Chur, bro, we better be good at rugby again, eh? That's, I'm not doing that one again. The All Blacks win by 50 points after losing to Argentina for the first time on home soil. And speaking of, South Africa did Australia 24-8. This was in the new stadium, 45,000 in there, packed it out. The Box hadn't won here for nearly 10 years. I don't know if you boys did see the highlights of this. I watched the highlights at least. Cracking first try there from Kanan Modi. Took in the bomb over Marika Koroibete and then ran it another 40 metres in to score. And then, I'll have a crack at this one. Makazole Mapimpe, he busted over for the go-ahead try for the Box, and there was a little bit of brouhaha. Kind of stood over Marika Koroibete.
Taunting, as you will.
Taunting, kind of gave him a little bit of a push. Scored on you, bruh. Little scuffle after that, but the Box get the win at a massive shift on the championship standings, with New Zealand going to the top, South Africa jumping us, and then I think it's us and then Argentina. So a little bit of inverse in the rugby championship with 2 games to go. And that will conclude our who the fuck is this guy saying?
Whole of 2 minutes.
EPL. Big week in the EPL. Spoke about it at the start of the show. 2 games. We're going to see a fair bit of this year with the World Cup in Qatar. The EPL obviously has to try and get.
How far apart are they playing these games? So
3 days.
3.5 day tournament?
Depends. So some of them are Wednesday night, some of them are Thursday night, and then they roll it into Saturday afternoon, Saturday night, Sunday afternoon kind of gear. United signed Anthony. Yeah, no H. Just
Antony.
Same as the bloke in the middle here for £86 million. Might have to buy one of the jerseys, I guess, custom made, et cetera, et cetera. Actually, that's the fourth biggest transfer in EPL history. So a fair bit of coinage thrown at the Brazilian right winger. He's 22 years of age. He's signed until 2027. He comes from Ajax, aka Ajax Spray and Wipe. It follows some big spending from United. They spent 64 mil on Casemiro from Real. They spent 76 at the end of last year on Jadon Sancho. So they've thrown some fucking money at a few players. They're hoping that that's going to pay dividends for them
The new
moving
guard,
forward. The new guard, the old guard, out with the old and in with the new. Well, their poor captain, Harry Maguire, he's been riding the pine the last few weeks, and they've been winning. They've been winning with Maguire on the pine. They've had Ronaldo not starting, coming on, just playing as an impact player. Maybe Erik ten Hag is starting to get a bit of a feel of who his best 11 is and how to utilise them. They're definitely, the last few weeks, looking a bit better than the way that they started. Pressure off Erik ten Hag, especially if they can get a win tonight in a cracker against Arsenal. Unfortunately, pressure gone. Scott Parker of used to coach or manage Bournemouth fame. Bit of a rough one. They did concede 16 goals in 3 games. However, it was to Liverpool, City and Arsenal. So they got dicked 9-0 by Liverpool, 4-0 by City, 3-0 by Arsenal. Scott Parker hits the road, and as you hit the road, Jack, and don't come back, as we've found out on the Esky, formula for winning.
Yes.
It's science. It's E equals MC squared. It's A squared plus B squared equals C squared. That might be maths, maybe not. Maybe it's science, maybe it's maths. I don't know.
Sack your coach
and you start winning. You start winning. They get the win
Does that
last.
mean you sack the coach each week?
Yeah, just get a new one. Yeah. I'll coach him week 19.
Yeah.
Sack me. Take the £300,000 or whatever.
Easy done. Easy money for a week's work.
Transfer fees.
Yeah, transfer fees, coming over from coach of Pep's Mongrels, NFL fantasy team. Big transfer fee. It seems to be, in any league in the world, at least in the 2 years that we've been podcasting, that if you sack the coach, it seems to be winning formula. So it's worked out for Bournemouth.
Get you at least one.
I mean,
they've got their season back on track. Look,
Yeah.
are they playing Champions League this year? Yeah, probably not. But
Were they one of the teams that came up?
last year
That's
they
what
came up, I believe. Yeah.
and caveat, the win was against Nottingham.
Yeah.
Yeah, who is a team? Is a team that come up. Hey, 2-time Champions League winning team.
True.
Nottingham Forest. How many times have Man City done that? 0 times. Bit of a salty United fan here, seeing the success of Man City of late. We won't go through all the games. Obviously been about 20 games since our last episode.
Well, Arsenal, the only team up there that's undefeated.
Yeah, so massive game tonight. Arsenal play United. So if Arsenal get a win, they can go 4 points clear atop of the league. 6 games in. I think everyone kind of thought, they might be a little bit improved. I don't think anyone expected them to be this good. Probably first real big test.
Well, they started
for
last
the
year so shit, and then
they started horribly last year. Yeah, but they've not played a big club yet this year.
That's awesome.
So a big test for them. The other game tonight is Brighton and Leicester. Just looking back briefly at the week that was, Erling Haaland seems to be paying dividends for Manchester City. He had a hat-trick in the 6-0 thrashing of Not Forest. Tottenham, they've dropped a point at least in their draw against West Ham. Liverpool, very, very lucky with their win against Newcastle, 98th winner from Carvalho. United's, scrappy but got the job done against Leicester City. Ivan Toney scored a hat-trick for Brentford. West Ham possibly robbed against Chelsea. Check out the footage on that one. A very dubious VAR decision involved in that one. Chelsea, no, they're running 5th, but maybe haven't played the best football. They've got a negative goal difference going forward. And what else? Wolves got off the mark. They beat Southampton.
Who's in the bottom there, Jimmy? Just scroll down.
And
is West Ham still? Yes. Okay.
So the bottom 3, as it stands, poor Leicester City going into tonight, 1 point, and then a bunch of teams there on 4. Currently in the relegation zone is Not Forest and West Ham United. Going to be interesting tonight. I think really, really big test for Arsenal. Are they the real deal? Tell you what, if they get the win there at Old Trafford, they haven't won at Old Trafford since 2006. So 16 years of history riding on this one. And if there's any year that they can do it, kind of channel that mid-noughties team of Thierry Henry and Freddie Ljungberg and Patrick Vieira and how strong they were in that era. They come up against a United team which is trying to be resilient, but maybe
rebuilding.
Maybe they've got an opportunity there tonight.
Yeah, I agree.
NBA boys, not a massive week, but there was a massive trade. I'll try to pick up the old Woj bomb, but Donovan Mitchell will be leaving the Utah Jazz. There was a few players involved.
And picks, I believe.
Yeah.
I think the Jazz now in total have 15 first-round picks in the next 3 or 4 years.
So they're going to be strong.
Yes, they're fully committed to future. So let's hope they don't do Sacramento Kings and
Orlando Magic kind of shit.
Yes.
The Jazz trade Donovan Mitchell to Cleveland for Lauri Markkanen, Ochai Agbaji, and Colin Sexton, and 3 first-round picks and 2 pick swaps. So they've literally traded the house. They've traded the house for Donovan Mitchell. It means that Cleveland is going to look pretty good upcoming. Mitchell comes in. He's got 3 years left on his contract. He'll join Darius Garland and Jarrett Allen, who have been named All-Stars already. We saw how good Evan Mobley is. That starting 5 starting to take shape there in Cleveland. What do we think? Does Cleveland kind of start becoming a bit of a force here in the East, or are they still kind of a mid-tier team?
Yeah, I thought it was a bit of a surprise from the Jazz to even try to move Mitchell, considering how long he's been there.
How good he's been.
Yeah. And I guess the Jazz had been pretty good for a while until last season when they kind of fell off a little bit. But, yeah, it seems like they've hit the reset button very quickly. I think I was more surprised than anything to see him get moved. I think they probably got enough value out of him.
Great value.
So, they just now need to capitalise on that. But, yeah, to Cleveland, let's see if Cleveland can get back to their winning ways.
I think it's been a few years of so close but so far for Utah, and they've gone, okay, we'll part ways with Rudy Gobert. We'll part ways with Spider Mitchell. That's their 2 best players. They've got remunerated well. For those 2 big trades, but I think sometimes when you put together a team, which does so well. I think 2 years ago, I think they finished first in the West or second in the West.
Yep.
And that they don't come through for you with the bickies. I think they go, okay, well, let's kind of move the chess piece.
And that was always the kind of the chat. I was like, oh, they're finishing first, but they're not going to win. Like everyone just assumed they just didn't have. I guess, the big 3 that you talk about, the others, or the big faces, franchise guys that the other clubs, other teams had. So when it came to them, it was like, oh, yeah, they're going to be an easy outcome finals time. But unfortunately, it kind of ended up being that case.
Exactly the way it came through.
Yeah.
It came to fruition big time.
That to me is kind of what it looks like. They've hit the reset button. They're going to go young, trying to draft the next lot of future talent, see how that goes for them.
They could struggle this year. Without Gobert, without Donovan Mitchell.
That's the heart of their team. So
look, Lauri Markkanen's a reasonable kind of get, but it doesn't fill the big shoes that you miss in Rudy Gobert. They probably miss the top 8, you'd think.
Could very well do.
This year. Monks, what do you got for us there?
Oh, just a little bit in the news during the week. I guess KD's been copping a little bit of heat.
We talked about it last week as well.
Yeah, Shaq and
he wanted everyone gone, and then his tail between his leg going back
came crawling back.
It's like, fine, yes, I want my $200 million.
Yeah, I'll take the money. But legends of the game. Shaq and I think Shaq quoted what Barkley has said in the past. Sort of just calling out KD, saying he's a bit of a failure, a bit of a bus rider, just being on these teams. Like, sure, he's won championships, but
He didn't do it.
Is he the cause? Is he the reason for it? Like, is he that factor? Obviously, he's got this big deal with the Nets and hasn't paid off yet.
Well, any sign of trouble, he tries to bounce.
Yeah.
That's I think the big concern is anything goes wrong, he tries to get out of there and go elsewhere.
How good's the old tweet of it's like a 2011 tweet. It's like OKC days for KD, and he's like laughing at all these teams trying to buy rings and that. And it's one of those ones that just did not age very well. It's are India afraid of the Gabba? Kind of rhetoric.
But it's also a young player in the league as well.
Yeah.
Like he kind of just the way the league is. It's like, yes, I need to form a trio with some of the top 20 NBA players, and that's how you make a run, because that's what everyone else is doing. Like, that's the problem. So,
and is it maybe a little bit of just talking head kind of shit? Like, they probably have a lot of respect for KD, I'd imagine. Is it kind of just to get people talking? We're talking about on the other side of the world. You
look at the history, though. You look at the rings that he has won and the teams that he's been in versus where he's gone to be the dude and how they've gone. Yeah, it is painting that narrative. So I guess it's on KD to go out there and win a ring as the dude.
Yeah.
Do we see him doing that with this Nets team?
Great question. I don't want to say it's Ben Simmons dependent, but if they can play good defense, and if that's
we see Simmons from 2 seasons ago,
that's all he needs to do is play defense. Let the other boys do all the scoring.
That's the biggest question around their team at the moment.
Yeah, they've got they can score points.
I saw an article this week that someone that was saying that they might want Simmons to play centre. Can't imagine. Like, he's a big man. He's a big man, but he's used to playing defense. Against a 2 or a 3, if he has to go up there and try and guard Jokic or Embiid,
he's not a 7-footer, which is
he's very close. He's very close.
He's 6'10", isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's 6'10", but he's not used to that kind of defensive workload either. Anyways, again, speaking of articles and clickbait and the rest of it, I don't know how
you clicked on it. You read it.
I did click on it. I click on a lot of shit. It's weird. Sometimes my computer gets a virus. Don't know why. Anything else to add there over the supposed beef between Shaq and Charles Barkley and KD riding the bus?
No, nothing there.
Pretty fucking nice bus. I wouldn't mind being on that bus.
I mean, yeah. He's got championship rings.
He's got a ring.
You can't complain about that.
He's one of the best basketball players of all time. Like, KD haters might, think that's sacrilege, but I think it's true. Yeah, I think it's true. He's also got a long time left, ahead in his NBA career. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that team gels, given the personalities in it.
Yeah.
All right, boys, let's talk some NFL. We're so close. It's one of our favourite sports. Our NFL fantasy drafts occurred over the weekend. Monks shouted.
What's your soundbite for the NFL?
Green 19, Green 19. Happy?
That's right.
Omaha.
Big story here. And for Antonio Gibson fantasy owners, this one was interesting.
Yeah, definitely. For, it's actually, it's fucking scary too. Like, it's Washington being Washington. So Brian Robinson Jr. Was shot in a carjacking. I think he was shot twice, but the main one was the bullet went through his knee, so both to the leg.
Also, where you don't want a running back.
Also very lucky the bullet went through his knee and didn't hit anything important. So it's just a flesh wound. No ligament damage, nothing to the kneecap or anything like that. It's just gone.
Reportedly only going to miss 4 games.
That's fucking wild.
Yeah, like it's literally.
D-Hop's going to miss more for fucking with PEDs.
Yeah, they'll stitch him up and it'll heal, and then once it's all good to go, he'll be out there running. So
unreal. Pretty highly touted, this guy too.
Yeah, potentially has stolen the number 1 job from Gibson. With reports Gibson's going to do return work for Washington, which
you'd be dirty, wouldn't you? After being very good for the last 2 seasons.
Yeah. Well, his problem is he's got fumbleitis, so he may be in the doghouse a little bit. So
the old Madden, you used to be able to do fumbleitis on Madden. It was like a cheap thing. You put fumbleitis on it, get like 8 fumble recoveries. Good ass. It was like a green kind of stew, like witch's brew kind of thing, pumpelitis. Pour it on the opposition running back. Anyway, sidetrack.
Yeah, so Robertson drafted to be a bell cow. We'll see what that looks like when he gets past, but wishing him speedy recovery. I think they're all very happy that in the end it only ended up being something very minor. It could have been lot worse.
So much worse,
but
man.
Yeah,
So worse.
Yeah, it's America going to America.
Yeah. At least it wasn't a primary school child.
Yes. Well, or he wasn't out of school, like in the car park, etc.
School shootings, yeah.
Moving away from that, let's talk about Russell Wilson. He got paid. Got a 5-year extension.
You ring up that contract because yearly, I think 45 mil.
If you include his current deal with 2 years, it's 42 mil over the next 7 years.
Unreal.
So didn't break the bank. Not to Deshaun Watson numbers. This is the important part. Is it's not a fully guaranteed contract, which is what Lamar is trying to get because he wants that Watson deal, which doesn't bode well for Watson because both Murray and Russell Wilson have now signed a still 160 mil odd guaranteed, but it's not the 230 that Watson got. So I believe that was very much Cleveland was like, here's all the money, come play for us. Because I think he was basically signing on the dotted line for the Falcons. So I don't think Lamar's going to get that deal, but for Russell, it's an excellent deal. Gets him through the next 7 years till age 40. Said he wants to Tom Brady it up and play to 45. So we'll see how that looks. There's not so great rumours in Tom Brady's personal life at the moment for his absence and supposed weight loss as well. Take with that as you will.
Jenny Craig.
Yeah, maybe. Or not eating, having some trouble with the missus, etc. I think it's the chat during the week. So
highly speculative.
Yes. Really? And we're not Women's Weekly, so we'll move on. But great for Denver, I think, with Wilson. 42 average, didn't reset the market. He very much said, I'm interested in Super Bowls. I think that deal is going to be excellent in 3 or 4 years' time. With the amount of money coming in the league, we'll be able to maintain a very good team over there in Denver and compete in the West with that weapons race that is currently going on. So,
how do you feel about that as a Denver Broncos diehard?
Yeah, well, since 2015, we've gone through like 1,000 quarterbacks trying to find a
Manning. Locked one in for
the rest of this decade, so I'm happy.
Horny.
Yes. Looking forward to Monday next week. I guess
who they have first?
Seattle.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's
they're
right.
going to put 50 on them, guaranteed.
That was random scheduling from the NFL, wasn't it?
Yeah, going home back to Seattle. So,
Monks, if you wouldn't mind, that contract, how does it look like?
Yep. So the contract was a 5-year, $242.5 million contract, including a $50 million signing bonus, with $10 million being paid each year for 5 years.
He was at the US Open as well. I remember saying that.
Yeah, he was too.
Yep.
Yeah, it's around again.
Looking very tasty as well. With his shades on. Full Chubb on the end.
Keep it in your pants, Nick Chubb down the end. Jesus Christ. Nick full Chubb down the end.
Yeah. 161 mil guaranteed. Average year, 48.5 mil.
Big contract for a guy that hasn't played an official game as a Denver Bronco. Do you think that's just they've seen what he's done, obviously, with Seattle?
Yeah, 9 Pro Bowls, 1 Super Bowl. Obviously, been excellent.
Worked hard in the preseason.
And locked him up. So, I think, in the last 18 months, we got the new GM last year. We now got a new owner, new quarterback, new president, new CEO. Like, it's all looking up for Denver at the moment. So we'll see in the next 3 years whether it paid off.
Other news? A bit of sad news. You never like to see someone go down in the preseason, especially not in training. But the linebacker for the Titans, Harold Landry, who had 12 sacks last year,
I think
has done his ACL.
Signed like a $60 million deal or something as well in the off season. Yeah, did his ACL season done, which is a big loss for the Titans.
Yeah, massive loss. Considering that Titans defense is pretty stout, really.
Yes. They fit in that sneaky good category.
Yeah, sneaky good indeed. Wishing him all the best with his rehab, and hopefully he can get back to double-digit sacks. Coming off a nasty knee injury. And what's the news out of the 49ers camp? Jimmy G's back to practice.
Yeah,
but we don't expect him to start week 1.
No. He's So he's definitely the backup. They've said that. He's been holding out essentially, waiting to be traded. Nothing's materialised. The Seahawks called multiple times, but they've said we're not trading him within the division. So that ruled that out. I think the Seahawks are desperately needed a quarterback, but they couldn't get them to budge. So Jimmy G is staying put and he's going to be the backup for the 49ers. So he showed up to practice for the first time this week. So we'll see how that relationship goes, especially if the 49ers start bad.
Yeah.
That's going to be the question.
Yeah, indeed.
Do you think they'll pull that trigger quick if...
Nope.
No, I don't think so.
I think they'll try to ride it out, but
you have to. You spent a third overall pick on Trey Lance. They've got to be pretty highly invested in it.
They've also said, Trey Lance is the future. He's our quarterback, et cetera, et cetera. They've got to stand by that now. So, but if they're 0-8, then their fan base is going to be like, I don't see it.
If they're 0-8, I'll eat my hat, which I'm not wearing, but I'll eat Monkey's hat.
Yeah, but you lose in the NFL, the fan base starts coming after you.
I like this hat. I'd like to see you eat it too.
This was your hat, not your ass. So,
Whoa.
You have to bet me something a bit more high stakes. I will make that bet. Not the longest ton over here. But anyways, let's keep this.
I think we've talked about this. We can't put that on the old YouTubes, unfortunately.
We'll probably make more money.
Yeah. On the Esky OnlyFans.
As it is. Only Eskies.
Yeah, low expectations. There's only upside.
That's right. You know what we need to start doing? 100 episodes coming up, but we need to start naming the episode after something funny that we say on the episode. So this one could be no expectations. And then it gets you intrigued. What are they talking about?
What are they talking about?
Well, then someone clicks on it. Like, I had no expectations, but this is lower than what I thought.
Particularly pertinent in this episode.
I don't know. That's the NFL news. I don't think we'll worry too much about previewing games because we can do that next Sunday, leading into week 1 on Monday.
Yep.
We do have Buffalo taking on the Rams on Friday. It's the only game.
Well, Max, if you wouldn't mind, can you bring up the odds just for that Thursday night kick-off? I think I need to say an apology. I think last week, I think I said the Rams are playing the Bengals.
I might have even said that, but I think that was their last preseason game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's where we got the wires crossed.
Apologies to you 20 people that listened last week.
Thank you, bro.
Last week. But we do have a rip snorter. It will be Thursday night.
Excellent football.
Over there in the States, it'll be
Bills,
Friday.
I think, are heavily favourite to win the whole thing. They've got the defense. They've got the offense.
Yeah.
They now have
Should they be the favourites?
That's the question. They got to walk the walk, and walking out there and take on a Rams team is a perfect test to kick off.
Bro, they're favourites in Los Angeles next year against the defending champs. I don't know if that's unders.
Yeah, I think this game will. What's the actually the line is what we need on this, or the under overs. Because I feel Scorefest, especially out there in LA, nice track to run around on.
This is a sexy game to kick off the year, isn't it?
Yeah, if the overs are anything like in the 50 range, take it.
Monks, what do you got for us?
Yep.
Low 60s. What's the overs go?
60? Would you take 60?
Yeah, I think this could be a 90-point game. Like they could go to town in this one.
Okay. Buffalo's the favourites, $1.30, $1.73. Rams at underdogs at $2.11.
Total match points?
Total match points.
Sean reckons he'd take 60. I feel like that's a lot.
They could. This could be
a
30-30 game. That's easy.
It could be.
Total match points 52.5.
Taking overs.
Smash overs on that.
Smash overs.
Yeah, two good defenses, but I think this is going to be first game of the year.
Offensive weapons.
Point City.
Yep. Under a roof there in Los Angeles. How many people are going to watch this?
Oh, all of the people. 100
million maybe.
Well, they've averaged their preseason games are average,
killing everything.
Like they've dominated. So football's back. College football kicked off today. I think.
Oregon looked pretty lackluster against the defending champions Georgia.
I think the main thing to watch is probably the Bryce Young and CJ Stroud chats leading. They're the two favourites.
Big draft stock potentially next year.
Could be first pick overall. So they've. Probably ending up in Atlanta, but we'll see how that season plays out before we get to that. But college football's back. Football now till fucking February. Let's go.
Let's go.
Just back onto the game. Last time they met, it was a 67-point game.
Was that in Buffalo or LA?
No comment. Buffalo. No. LA. SoFi Stadium.
There you go. LA. LA's a good track to.
No, that would be this game. I don't know where last met.
Hey, Peps, can you just reach over there and slap him for me?
We've been through this. I don't slap him hard. I just give him little tender ones.
It was probably wherever LA Rams were playing in 2020.
Cool.
Yeah. St. Louis. No, okay.
Should we talk top 20? Oh, you got Super Bowl.
Actually,
yeah, odds. Go for that.
Just go future.
Yeah.
So Super Bowl, before the season even starts, the Bills are touted as favourites to win the Super Bowl at $7. Mm-hmm. Right behind them is my team, the Bucks, at $8. Kansas City is at 11. Rams are at 12. And Packers, 13, rounding out the top 5.
Let's go. Bronx?
Yeah. Go Denver.
Bronx, they are a little bit further down the list at $17.
Can you scroll down to the bottom of that list and see
who they're saying is getting this spewed?
Yeah, who's the real bumhole teams?
Oh, what are our picks? What do you reckon you've got?
I reckon Atlanta, Jacksonville, Detroit.
Maybe Browns. I think Browns overall a better squad, but they're
mid. Yeah,
they could be a mid-peak team. But yeah, I wonder if they just fall apart. But I think
Browns are $26.
Yeah.
That's unders, bro.
Yeah,
I think that's unders. Yeah. You can't tell me that the Browns are
they're
better
a 500 team
than the Saints or the Patriots.
Saints are better than
the biggest bumholes? Oh, the Texans.
Texans.
Yeah.
I think Texans are going to be better than that.
Well, it's them and the Falcons at 251 to 1.
Yeah. Falcons I don't love. I think they could be last. Well,
Seahawks are down there as well.
Seahawks.
Oh, Seahawks. Yeah, we didn't should have said that as well. They've lost a lot of weapons on the defense and lost their quarterback and gonna have to run out Geno Smith. See how that goes.
Screen DK. As a bloke that is a big fan of DK, his rig and his fantasy. That's the one thing. Sorry.
One and the same.
As a fantasy owner,
his
DK,
rig, your fantasy.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying. Hopefully, DK doesn't get forgotten down there. Going to be tough for those teams in Houston and Atlanta and Seattle, New York, Jacksonville, etc. Yep. Boys, the top 20 of the top 100 got released. We were talking about it last week. We knew the names in alphabetical order, and now we have the players in the order that the players voted them. Let's start at 20. We'll run through it quickly. JC Jackson comes in at 20. He's going to be new this year at San Diego. Well, at Los Angeles Chargers, I should say. Haven't been San Diego for quite some time. The Chargers actually had the most players in the top 100 with 8, which is interesting considering aren't favourites on that list by any means. Haven't.
But that's very Chargers of them though.
high top end, low bottom end, maybe playing
choke city,
playing unders. Yeah, it is very Chargers, but very talented lineup.
Yeah, they've got a good team.
Herbert's only going to get better. Expect them to push in this very hotly contested AFC West moving forward. Devo Samuel cracks the list. Wasn't on it last year. He goes straight to 19, same number that he wears. Will he be able to reproduce this year with Trey there? It's going to be interesting.
Good question. See how much running back he'll do.
18, Shaquille Leonard, formerly known as Darius Leonard. He's gone up 19 spots into 18 to be the premier middle linebacker on the list. 17, the Gritty. Hit him with it. Those watching the YouTube. Justin Jefferson goes up 36 places to number 17, one of the higher wide receivers on the list. Micah Parsons to finish 16th as a rookie.
Well, it just shows the ridiculous year that
he's so good, man. Yeah. He started as a middle linebacker, and they go, "Oh, this guy can fucking get the quarterback and chuck him out there on the outside." I think he had,
did he end up
14 sacks or something?
Yes, he did. And did he end up with 100 tackles as well, or did he just fall short of that?
Can you chase that one up from Micah Parsons?
Stats.
Unbelievable.
It's still ridiculous stats
for a rookie. You're in your first year, and you're in the best 16 players as voted by your peers in the NFL. Unbelievable season that Micah Parsons had. And that Dallas defense, they were so bad a few years ago, and they've really turned the corner. Him, Trayvon Diggs.
Yeah, they needed to add the weapons.
I think they'll be pretty good this year.
Yeah.
I think as a team, I think they'll be pretty good. Monks, Micah Parsons' stats, if you wouldn't mind.
Yep. So he had 13 sacks on the season, 3 forced fumbles, 84 combined tackles, 64 solo.
Still ridiculous numbers.
Unbelievable. Did he get a pick?
No picks.
No picks.
No.
The tackle numbers wild.
Yeah.
Like most outside linebackers, they're averaging like the 50s or lower. Like, they're trying to get quarterback. But yeah, to do both is ridiculous.
Tyreek Hill finished 15th in 2021. He finishes 15th in 2022. New team, obviously, going down to South Beach. How's Tua going to be able to use him? Obviously, Mahomes got a cannon, can really take advantage of sending him deep. Will they utilise him a bit more in the short passing game?
I've seen because he had that deep ball against that Titans in the preseason game, and everyone was talking about because it was underthrown. And then just if it was Mahomes, he would have housed it and stuff like that. And then people have gone away and cut up a highlight reel of Mahomes underthrowing Tyreek Hill. So
he's that fast.
He's quick. He's quick.
that fast.
Yeah, I think it's less a quarterback issue and maybe the fact that he's fast. But we'll have to see what that team looks like. Dolphins, another one of those teams that have probably underrated. They've got a solid defense.
Defense is
and
great.
They've added weapons on the offense. So yeah. Quarterback, they'll see what Tua can do with the weapons he's got.
Trent Williams finishes 14. I think that's the highest that an O-lineman has ever finished, up 28 places from last year. A little bit of debate in our group chat this week about the place of O-linemen. Yep. Do they belong in the top 10 of an NFL top 100? Obviously, it's voted by the players, so it's up to them. They do an important job. Left tackles obviously get paid pretty well, but Trent Williams, the highest offensive lineman ever on the list. Then we go into Josh Allen, 13th. He actually falls 3 places from last year. That was interesting, I thought, given I thought he was probably better than he was the year before. Yeah,
maybe forgot man in this with some of those guys bumping up ahead of him, like Garrett, Kels, and Ramsey. We'll get to those in a second. But that's, they're guys bumping up in that list, pushing him down essentially. And, all 3 of those had excellent years last year.
Yeah, so, indeed.
Maybe it was more that they took a further leap and were more prevalent in the media, and the more the players knew about them, so they got included a bit more in these votes by the other players.
Derrick Henry finished 12th, the king. He was on track to break all kinds of records before his injury. He
was 40 yards short of a 1,000-yard season at the halfway point.
I think he finished. I think he finished 3rd for yards. Yeah. He played half the game.
Yeah.
I think he finished 3rd for rushing yards. Wild. If he stays healthy this year, my goodness. Myles Garrett goes up 6 places to finish 11th. If it wasn't for a guy called TJ Watt, probably the best edge rusher in the NFL. Travis Kelce drops 5, but still unbelievable. I think he finished 2nd behind Mark Andrews in most receiving numbers for tight ends.
Yeah, I think Father Time is going to be Kelce's only issue going forward. He's going to get all the targets, all the volume over there at KC, but we'll have to see how long he can keep his career going for.
Jalen Ramsey, the best cornerback in the NFL, he comes in at 9th, 5 places up from last year. I think this is one of those positions where if you were to go around and ask everyone who's the best cornerback in the NFL, you get pretty much unanimous decision.
Yeah.
There's probably not that many positions where that's even a thing. Like at quarterback, I think you'd have some ravenous debate. I think at receiver and running back, you'd get some ravenous debate. I think at cornerback, it's pretty locked in.
Yeah.
Number 8. Patrick Mahomes sliding down from being the former champ of the list back in 2021. Still highly talented, went deep in the playoffs last year. Obviously, he's lost his running mate in Tyreek Hill, who's going to be the receiver.
Kansas had a bit of a down year last year as well.
Yeah. In the AFC West, I think they're the only team that didn't improve.
Yeah.
You look at Denver, they're improved. You look at the Raiders bringing in Devontae Adams, like they're improved. The Chargers are way better. Like I think they're probably the only team in that division that maybe
didn't do enough.
I'm not going to say they're taking a backward step, but that maybe on paper didn't go forward.
Yeah, everyone else is geared up on weapons, and they're seem to have only bought knives to this gunfight. So we'll have to see how the season goes when we get into it.
Speaking of Devontae Adams, he finished 7th on the list, down 1 from the year before. TJ Watt, he went from 9th in 2021 to 6th on the list. The second highest defender, equaled the sack record last year. the brightest spark in being a Pittsburgh Steelers fan at the moment. That is for sure. And then we go into two guys that had breakout years. They weren't even on the list last year. I'm talking about Jonathan Taylor finishing 5th and Cooper Kupp finishing 4th. Unprecedented. Their production, Cooper Kupp getting the Triple Crown for receptions, yards, and touchdowns, and Jonathan Taylor smashing everyone else in all the running back numbers. They would have been high on people's fantasy radars this weekend. It's going to be interesting to see if they can back it up. Mm-hmm. The top 3, I think this was a consensus top 3. I think I sent through my predictions as to how this list would go. I got the box trifecta. I didn't get them in order. It doesn't pay as much as the trifecta, but these were my 3 guys. I have my boy Aaron Rodgers, number 1 on the list. We've got him up there. He's 2 times MVP. Interesting that someone else finished higher than him on the list. No guesses as to who that was. Aaron Donald, on my list, I actually had him as number 1. He finished number 2 the year before. I think it's 6 years in a row that he's finished top 5 on this list. The consensus top 5, top defender, I should say, in the NFL, and he's got a Super Bowl ring and an unbelievable performance in the Super Bowl to go with it. And how about this, boys? At the tender age of 45, Tom Brady climbed 6 spots to take out the top 100 again. What were our thoughts around this? I think he's the GOAT, hands down the GOAT. But based on last year, I was actually a little surprised that he took out the top on this.
Most touchdowns, most passing yards. It doesn't surprise me at all that his peers would vote him to number 1 spot. Plus, he's also got the
fucking GOAT.
He's got that as well. Yeah, if people go, who do you think the best player in the league is? They're going to go, Tom Brady. For dude at 44 to still putting up the ridiculous numbers that he is. And the fact that, the second favourite for the Super Bowl again.
With a 45-year-old quarterback.
Well, I think, some of that probably flows through and, this will be probably the second last time he ends on this list. They'll do a list next year and he'll be on it, but he'll be retired by that point. I don't think he's going to run it back again like he did this year. I think this will be the last season of Tom Brady. So probably fitting he ended up on 1 leading into the season.
As a Bucks fan?
Yeah, happy he's there, and definitely great to see him there. I think you are right, though. It's kind of like that GOAT status around him.
Aura.
Most touchdowns, most passing yards, but like I said, Rodgers was MVP. I think it's just there's a lot of influence, I guess, in terms of how this list is picked. I don't know. Hopefully he can run it back and we have a great season and we win another championship.
That'd be a very Tom Brady thing to do.
Finish with a win.
Definitely.
Yeah, would be very Tom Brady.
That Rams-Buffaloes game that I've minced up before, that was actually in Buffalo.
Yeah. That's all right, but there was 67 points.
There was 67 points.
67 points in Buffalo, so go to a nicer weather in the dome.
It was
Point City, like I said.
Yeah, September. It was in September, so weather would have been okay.
Do you remember? In September. What's the F1 noise? Should we talk the F1?
You got to do your car noise. F1. So Spa was last week. We were leading into it last potty. Max ends up winning it. He started 14th. He started 14th. But he drove an absolute rocket ship. Essentially, he went from 14th to first in 12 laps, which is ridiculous.
How many laps in the race?
55.
So he got it done in the first quarter of the race.
Easy. And then no issue. No one even threatened him. So
there was a couple of safety cars or something early on. I know there was a couple of crashes.
I don't remember any crashes. There was one big crash in the race in the start there between Bottas and Latifi. Latifi went off and clipped Bottas, and had to remove Bottas's car. But outside of that,
they've also got written there that Lewis crashed out in the first lap.
Yes. Well, I don't think that impacted too much because Lewis kind of stopped off the side, and Max was still I think he was 10th at that point. Because Lewis cut off Alonso, and Alonso ran out the back of him. Yeah, so McLaren struggled again throughout the race. I think Ricciardo finished 18th. He did poorly. He's actually starting 18th in the race tonight, I believe, too. So bit of rough trot for Ricciardo. Ferrari struggled for pace. They tried to do the fastest lap on the last lap, which ended up... Oh, it's a funny story because on the first lap, Verstappen pulls off his... what do they call the visor? The visor rip. There's a special name for it.
Sort of like a screen protector type deal.
And he rips that off and gets caught, and Leclerc's braked up behind him. So Leclerc has to go for tyres, which then ruins his race. But then also because of that, it affected the speed sensor. So when they pitted to go get the tyres for the fastest lap, he sped in the pit lane, which gave him a 5-second penalty. So he didn't get the fastest lap, and then also had to overtake Alonso to get 5th place, but then with that penalty, finished behind him. So Ferrari doing Ferrari things as always, struggling with the strategy. I think, Perez finished 2nd, Sainz was 3rd, Russell was 4th, and Alonso was 5th. Max is signing this up. Max is going to win the championship. I think it's whether Ferrari can get that number 2 spot and push Red Bull. Same with Mercedes, push Red Bull for the Constructors' Championship because Max is untouchable. Is what my thoughts at the moment. Yep. And with the races to go, even if he DNFs all of them, it's still going to be hard challenge for them to overtake him. Like he's got a big lead. So
his lead is 93 points on Perez at the moment.
Yeah, and which is his teammate. So
that is true. So Perez isn't going to go past him. He's got a nearly 100-point lead on Leclerc.
Yeah, with 8 races to go.
With 8 to go.
So mathematically, yes.
Mathematically possible. It's like the Tigers having to go out and put 54 points on the Raiders today.
Very unlikely.
And highly unlikely.
He's showing his pace. We'll start on pole tonight for his home Grand Prix. Very close with the 2 Ferraris. Mercedes also looks very quick, so it should be a bit of a competitive race. Not a great circuit for overtakes over there, the Dutch GP, but we'll see how it goes. Like I said, Ricciardo's going to start 18th. But I guess the main news there is Oscar Piastri confirmed as the McLaren driver for next year. Will replace Ricciardo. As we mentioned, Ricciardo took the deal and is gone. He's now looking for a seat. The Gasly chat to Alpine is still happening. The Michael Schumacher, where does he end up? Still happening. So there's some seats to be found. Some seats potentially at Williams if Latifi gets moved on. So they're still going to work out the grid for next year. Some reports that Jack Doohan will be the reserve driver for Alpine next year, basically doing what Oscar did this year, which is great for Jack. Maybe we see 3 Australians in F1 in 2 years' time, but we'll have to see what happens with Ricciardo.
It's hard.
You think he's
There's
done?
a lot of seats there.
Oh, I think he can definitely get. He's good. Like the other thing is McLaren's had 2 former world champions drive for them in the last 10 years, and the only driver to win a race for McLaren's Ricciardo in the last decade. So he can definitely do a job. He's still an elite driver. They've taken the wrong approach with McLaren where they've tried to build that suits Ricciardo. So he'll have to go somewhere else to see if he can, find a car that suits his style a bit more. But it won't be with the top teams. Maybe Alpine go back there. They're probably, finishing 4th or 5th this year. Or it's, back into that middle pack teams, which you can do what Bottas has done. Go to an Alfa Romeo type outfit and just, see in the middle pack, see if you compete on a week-to-week basis. Stay in F1 and show your wares. But we'll see. It's happy to see Oscar get a run, at the see what that looks like next year. But otherwise, GP tonight in the Netherlands, and I think that's like 11 o'clock our time. So.
What do we expect? A sea of orange and Verstappen to go pole to finishing first?
Yeah, I'd say so. Like I said, it's a bit of a hard one to overtake on, and I think most of the chat's been about flares, about the letting the orange flares thrown on the track. Yeah,
that's a red flag.
Yeah, exactly. They've banned flares. Because people want to watch the race, not see orange smoke everywhere. So, like I said, see what that looks like, that race tonight. Finish with the UFC?
Finish with the UFC. We had the UFC in Paris. Paris.
62,000 people turned out.
Fucking massive.
Wow. Yeah,
How good is that?
Huge event. First one in Paris, I believe. I don't think they've done one.
No, I don't believe so. Should we talk Bobby Knuckles and then into the main event for the night?
Because the French fighters were 5-0 on this card. So Bobby Knuckles taking on the Italian at least did get his win here. And by all accounts, a masterclass. I've seen plenty of highlights. He found his range early in the second round, and Vettori could not touch him, essentially. So an absolute masterclass from him. He just paced up Vettori in this one and got a win by decision. So I think it's kind of clear that, Asanya and Whittaker have distanced themselves from everyone else in the division.
Tears.
Yeah.
We like to talk about tiers here on the Esky.
They're tier one.
We do it in the NFL. We've done it in other sports. That's tier one, isn't it? And then there's a clear drop off. Obviously, Pereira now in tier one, and see what can happen.
He's the challenger. He'll take on Israel next. But if Israel gets through him, then is that Whittaker 3?
Yeah,
it'll be
3.
It'll be 3.
Yep. You got it.
Yeah, you got it. Cool. Yeah, cool. Yeah, it'll be Whittaker 3, which it's fight to make. It's if anything happens to Pereira, then I think Whittaker will step straight in. He's sitting there number one. He's been number one there for 12 months. He'll get his next shot probably early next year, I'd say, after they do this Alex Pereira fight.
If Pereira wins, does Whittaker get first dibs?
Depends how he wins.
Yeah.
If he knocks Israel cold in the first round, then I think Whittaker's the next one. If it's a 5-round war and he wins it on decision,
the rest run it back.
Run it back.
Yeah. I think that might be the chat regardless, considering how good Izzy has been.
Yeah, but if he flatlines him where he needs another oxygen mask like he did in kickboxing, then I think that's a different story. We've now seen that 3 times if you include the 2 previous in the kickboxing world.
Yeah, one of the kickboxing ones was a KO, one was a points decision, I believe. Yeah. But that's going to be the wood that Pereira has over Adesanya. That's creeping up. That's only, I think it's end of October.
Do you have it there for us, James?
Yeah, I think it's 281, I believe. So the next main event after the upcoming
the hazmat.
Interesting that Bobby Knuckles looks so good against Vettori. I thought Vettori might have offered a little bit of
push him a little bit more,
of resistance, considering he did push Adesanya. Last year I think it was June that we were watching that fight. It's Bobby Knuckles proved his class and definitely still needs to be, the one to push Adesanya or Pereira, given the result of that fight.
Yeah.
UFC 281 is on the 13th of November.
13th of November. So what's that? Start of September. Do you remember? 10 weeks, I think. 10 weeks.
So then I'd say probably March. April-ish for then
pencil that one in
for another fight for that middleweight belt. So
unfortunately for Aussie fans, Tai Tuivasa's run, his win streak came to an end. It was against a classy fighter in Cyril Gane. You watched this one, Sean. He did get knocked out in the third round. I saw the highlights, a nice combination from Gane. He looked shredded. He looked like if it went to decision, it would be Gane regardless. What was your take on this fight?
Yeah, well, first round feeling out. You can see Gane's footwork. He's got elite footwork for a big man. In that division, he definitely shows it. But really led with the front kick. and that was to the lead leg, to the midsection, and then with the occasional high one. So the midsection was the one that really did the damage. The pointed kick repeatedly into the midsection of Tua kind of really is where it started to wind him and wear him out. But to Tua's credit, in the second round, he put him on. He sat him down. So very close to actually finishing this fight and winning it. But again, credit to Gain. He came back, bounced back up from that quickly, reset himself, and then that third round, probably to Tuivasa's discredit, his chin. He took a heap of punishment. He was eating front kicks to the belly like at will, which were really doing the damage. Got head kicked, ate that. Took a bunch of punches as well, and then it was the clear right hook that set the end where Tua finally went down, and Garn jumped on him, finished the fight, and that's all she wrote. But I think Tua didn't do anything bad. Like, he didn't do himself in disservice.
No.
Entertaining as all accounts. He will definitely get another dance partner in the heavyweight division. He can throw absolute bombs. He's definitely a better and more improved fighter. It's just, Garn's footwork, and he just could get away from the big shots and land his own at range to do the damage and get the win.
Unbelievable run from Tai Tuivasa from going unranked 5 fights ago to stringing 5 wins in a row to becoming the number 3 heavyweight in the world. He'll be back with a vengeance. It's going to be interesting to see who he gets next. As fans, as Aussie fans. And the future of the heavyweight division kind of a little bit up in the air, with John Jones coming up.
That's the problem. Yeah, where does John Jones slide into that? How's Ngannou's knee going, etc. That's what's
the allure of boxing money as well.
That too.
For
the murkiness that it is. So Ngannou Garn fight in France and in Paris, considering Ngannou basically come from
French.
there. I think that's would be an absolute huge title fight.
Was going to ask, does Garn's win over Tuivasa give him enough clout to get that rematch straight away, or
he's sitting at 1?
It's going to depend on John Jones.
That's go back to John Jones.
Yeah. I think if John Jones is ready and the allure of the boxing money, doesn't capture Ngannou, I think that's the fight probably next.
Yeah.
That would be my thoughts.
I agree to that, definitely.
And then does that mean for Tuivasa that he sort of needs to work his way back up, fight some of those lower ranked guys, get a little bit more?
Maybe not too much, but
where's Stipe at?
That's the question. I think Stipe's angling as well for either that Jones fight or another fight with Ngannou. Maybe that makes sense in there. Maybe Curtis Blades.
They haven't fought, have they?
I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure they haven't.
Get that wrestler to take on Tua,
they haven't.
which would be an interesting kind of dynamic, I guess. There's a few floating around there, potentials. We'll have to see what comes for Tua.
Would love to see that.
I think they've got to sort out John Jones, and then from that we can sort out the dance partners for the rest of the heavyweights in the top 5.
There.
To finish up, UFC 279 is
next week.
Next week.
Hamzat.
Hamzat headlining against Nate Diaz. I hope they have a body bag ready for Nate Diaz. I feel that's the way this fight's going to go. But you never know. Nate Diaz is an absolute gangster.
His cardio is unrivaled.
I'm worried that this is going to be a 5-round demolition of Nate Diaz. He's a known bleeder. I wonder if his chin will be his own undoing in this one. Let's hope it doesn't go that way in the welterweight division. Otherwise, Johnny Walker opens the pay-per-view. Kevin Holland is on this as well. See if he can keep his run. He's doing a catch weight, so one of them mustn't have made weight for that fight. And then Tony Ferguson coming up in the welterweight division. I don't like his chances either there against the Chinese fight in Lee. So, yeah. It's a bit of an interesting mismatch of a card. It's a few guys coming back off losses, some names in there. A few guys, trying to make runs. No huge big selling points besides the last fight for Nate Diaz.
Yeah, maybe not the biggest,
no
biggest
belts
card.
or anything on the line.
Yeah. Still a lot of interest. Don't get me wrong, but in terms of pure name value, and
well, I think it's been dubbed the gangster fight, the last true gangsters of the UFC. So Nate Diaz last fight in the UFC. Hopefully that pulls in the viewership, and we'll see what that looks like. Catchweight 180. Yeah, so that's someone missed pounds by 10.
I'll just scroll up a little bit. It's got the note there.
Who missed?
some details.
That's the I'm looking at the Holland fight. Middleweight, blah blah blah. Can't see it in there.
There's a catchweight next week. Is the summation?
So the bantamweight fight might have missed this one. That's why the card's a bit funny because that's been moved to 280. The next one. There you go.
Yep. Anyways, finishing strong here on the Esky as usual.
Just like us.
Yeah.
Thank you to anyone that has joined us this week. Hope you're having a good week. Shout out, we didn't do it at the start of the show, but any dads out there, dads that have got kids, people that have got dads.
Most dads do have kids.
most people have dads.
Most people have dads.
And shout out to anyone that's lost a dad or wasn't able to see their dad this Father's Day. Shout out to the new fathers. Shout out to the fathers of little dog, of little fur dads.
Yeah,
all you dads out there. Shout out to dads with dad dicks. Shout out to dads that don't have dad dicks. I'm still waiting for mine in the mail. Happy Father's Day to all of you dads out there. Thank you for your time listening to us and putting up with our dribble here on the Esky. We'll be back next week, Sunday afternoon, kind of
finals
shindig. Yeah, we'll have the first week of the NRL finals. We'll have a real clear picture of the AFL. There will only be 4 teams remaining. We'll be looking at the NFL. It'll be an NFL heavy segment, I'd reckon, leading up into the first week of the NFL. We'll have some cricket news, we'll have some F1 news, and some just general shenanigans and general horseplay.
All the
Sounds good.
All right, thank you, boys.
Thank you. Thank you. Happy Father's Day.
Yeah.
Looking forward to open the dad dick in the mail.
Bye.
Catch ya.
Bye.